talk about Persona. Commonly known as a pillar of the modern RPG and beloved by many a fan for many a decade, it wasn't until Persona 5 Royal hit the scene that the mainstream gaming audience took notice. The Phantom Thieves took the world by storm, both in and out of game. Hell, Joker even nabbed an illustrious Smash Brothers invitation as a playable character, so it was only a matter of time before we had to have a look for ourselves. Finishing Persona 5 Royal over several hundred hours was one of those experiences that's hard to describe. From the distinctive art style and soundtrack that never misses, customizable personas for a unique gameplay experience, to a cast of lovable and memorable characters, not you Morgana, in a beautifully inspiring story that made us cry like 5 times, immersing ourselves in this game, it wouldn't be a stretch to call it life-changing. Now imagine our elation at finding out there's a Persona 5 too! Oh wait, hang on, no, sorry, that's an S. Persona 5 Strikers. A sequel and continuation of the Phantom Thief story with even more characters and sights and sounds and gameplay for us to enjoy? Oh yes, please! If you don't know the drill with these videos, we're going to be going for 100% and grinding the 46 achievements to earn true Phantom Thief. And as much as we're chomping at the bit to get started, we'd just like to mention these grinds are done live over on Twitch, which you can find the link to along with the VOD archives down below. And hey, while you're down there, why not give the video a like? It does go a long way in helping us and these videos out. Now then, we've got a lot to do for these 45 achievements, and I think we've waited long enough to start. So, let's get this grind going, shall we? The Shibuya nightlife, a bustling cityscape with quite the well-known late-night scenes where people can relax and unwind after a long day of work. But by the looks of our outfit in the opening cutscene, we're crashing this party. Not even 2 minutes in and already the game is showing us this ain't no copy-paste kind of sequel. Gone is the turn-based combat, and now we've got big open areas, big swarms of shadows to blast through, and new combo attacks with which to do so. Not to mention the cinematic and flashy showtime attacks we can perform after doing enough damage with the other flashy attacks in our arsenal. And hey, would you look at that? 3 minutes in and already our first achievement. It's showtime for doing the first of probably many showtime attacks. Now, despite how fantastic this opening is, we do have a few small questions. Mainly, didn't we leave the city in the last game, so why are we back here? And possibly more pressingly, how the hell are we back in the metaverse after we destroyed it? Let's dial the days back a bit and see what happened here. It's the middle of July, the summer heat is rising and the school days are making way for the summer holidays, meaning it's time to get the band back together and plan how to spend that month. But it's not just the Phantom Thieves planning something big, as we get a peek at a herd of law enforcement types all discussing some troubling incidents in the recent months, members of the Diet suddenly confessing to document tampering, authors recanting their works and awards, and most recently, the streaking through HQ by the head of criminal affairs. All these incidents have no real connection aside from being able to be described as a sudden change in personality. Due to, or perhaps in spite of, their incompetence, this means that in the police's attempt to try and fit the square problem into the round solution hole, these incidents are all deemed to have a striking resemblance to the escapades of the last game from 6 months ago, meaning despite being cleared of all suspicion, guess who's back in the ire of the law? At least the reunion with the group is a wholesome time as we catch up over the last 6 months and plan our vacation. It's here we get our first glimpse of Emma. Basically, if you took Siri, that Google Assistant thing, and ChatGPT, rolled it all into one but then made it not shit or evil, you'd get Emma. Apparently Emma has been the latest craze as this AI can do all kinds of helpful stuff. You know, like using your location to read a map and tell you where to go, hoarding all your buying habits to find you deals on new products, writing your university essays for you, scraping digital artists' work into some kind of abhorrent soulless amalgamation it can vomit out, or keep track of your calendar so you don't forget your mum's birthday. Naturally, we download the app right away, and after inputting our name backwards and having to replay the whole opening again, we end up in another familiar place, though the reunion isn't quite as warm a welcome. Back here in the Velvet Room, Lavenza is just as concerned about our return, but warns us of some encroaching and plotting danger which threatens to destroy the world again. Sounds important. We'd better have Emma put a reminder for us about it. Oh, or better yet, maybe you could come up with some solutions for us while we're out and about. The group decided we should start things off with a little camping trip, so we're off with Ryuji to go grab the Emma suggested nested list of gear from a couple places in Shibuya. When we reach the crossing, Emma handedly lets us know that the amassing group of people are all here for a big event that's happening close by. It's some hyper-popular fashion designer slash model slash idol's new store opening up, so the event's the usual hype-building shtick. That said, she's popular enough that even Ryuji's heard of her, so, not missing a beat, he drags us over to go see her. It's nothing all that special, really. Alice is there, bringing in a crowd, trying to get people interested in buying the merch, that kind of thing. Hell, she even hands out these friend codes for Emma to become friends with her. Probably just some new way for these companies to spam you with deals and promo. Okay. Well, this is eerily familiar. Even got the clothes back and everything. But it looks like we aren't the only ones who found themselves here this time. And it's not too long before trouble shows up as the shadowy police figures start attacking the civilians and stealing their desires. See, what makes this a fictional world is these police are stealing a manifestation of a person's immaterial psychological desire, rather than just harassing them or beating them to death. But with the three surrounded, some 45 minutes after the first fight, it's time for the second fight and tutorial, so we're not just button mashing anymore. We learn the basics of persona usage, try out a few combos, and find out about the little down gauge and how to abuse it to get a huge AoE damage off as often as possible. There's even the new Phantom Dash, which is a nifty little way of using the environment to our advantage for even more new ways of dishing out damage. Yet even with all these new skills, the unending swarm of shadows means the gang's on the back foot and end up getting captured while trying to retreat. Good news though, due to our rebellious spirit, our desires are unable to be seized. And in even better news, this gets us sent right to the palace ruler. The encounter though doesn't go too great, since we're handbound, beaten, stepped on, and then disposed of for being toys who don't do as they're told. Yeah, this isn't even barely disguised, it's straight up just multiple devs fetish. So now having been left unsupervised to wander around the rubbish heap, we find this big old cube, and being the risk unaware idiot that we are, we go ahead and just poke it. And out pops this girl. This has brought several new questions to the table, but we should probably find a way out of here first. Sophia, as she calls herself, doesn't have any memories and just found herself here, but it's okay though. We've spent how long last game with a cute character who has no memories, so we let her tag along on our way out of here. Well, more like we run along after her once she bolts off looking for a way out of here for us. Oh, and she can use a persona too. Well, that'll make things a bit easier, we guess. Eventually, after a few more tutorials and fights, we make it out of the underground. Sophia even managed to find us that way out of here like she wanted to. She's a bit hesitant to leave with us, but we can't exactly just leave her in the metaverse alone, so we decide to bring her back with us. Once we're back in the real Shibuya, according to Emma, we've returned from the jail. But where exactly did Sophia end up? We all came back together, so she should be close by, right? Well, turns out her slightly odd mannerisms weren't just from social awkwardness, but actually because she's an AI. This means when she came back to the real world, she didn't really have anywhere to go, so decided to make a home in Ren's phone. We swear, if we had a nickel every time some weird shit ends up on our phone that involved the metaverse. Anyway, if it wasn't for the fact we have Sophia on our phone, it'd be hard to try and get the others to believe what happened. But once we make the introductions with Sophia, everyone's on board with the idea that something's up. Meaning we can start to work on answering some of the many questions that have arisen, mostly around Sophia. We let Futaba take a peek and poke around at the source code, which, according to her, is a serious work of art that'd take months to fully get to grips with. As for this whole jail thing, well, as of right now, we've just got speculations that the people we saw having their desires stolen are merely a person's shadow, though it might still be having some effect on their thoughts and actions in the real world. So not wanting to run back in there, guns blazing and causing any mental shutdowns, the crew decides some investigating real-world side is in order. It doesn't take us too long to find stories of odd behavior going on in Shibuya. People going into crazy debts just to buy more Alice merch, relationships being broken off over a sudden interest in Alice, hell, even employees letting staff go over not being fans of Alice. You barely have to scratch the surface to find some kind of Alice mania going on here. Seems certain now that whatever is happening in the jail is having a serious impact on the real world, and it's all revolving around that idol fashion designer Alice. As it just so happens though, Anne had been in contact with her modeling agency about trying to meet with Alice a while back. She's booked for a TV interview tomorrow, and Anne might be able to get the ball rolling with that meetup again. All we've got to do now is see if Alice is unknowingly involved in this or not. So once tomorrow becomes today, we'll meet up with Anne, who is able to get us a couple of seats in the studio and keep our eyes on Alice. It all starts off as you'd expect, just some rehearsed questions and answers, letting her plug her new merch, that kind of thing. But things end up going off the rails pretty quickly once one of the two engaged co-hosts of the show suddenly throws himself in front of Alice, confessing his undying love for her. In the panic and scramble of TV staff trying to cut the cameras and stopping this disaster from airing, Alice can't help but let a sly smile creep across her face, telling us everything we needed to know. Anne's hit rather hard by a lot of this. Hearing similar similar words to her own drive for wanting to become a model and just how hollow sounding they are now, even feeling like she'd been fooled by Alice for so long. But before we can tell her that it's not her fault for being lied to, Alice, and by definition the dev's fendom kink, walk into the hallway. The scene is a tense one of Alice abusing her manager in multiple ways, but thankfully cut short by us confronting her up front. After that encounter, there's no room for doubt now. Alice isn't oblivious to how and what is happening in the metaverse and its effect on the public. We get back to the rest of the group, and while they saw what happened during the interview, we also update them on the post-interview incident that we witnessed. While Sophia is rather eager to see Alice's action come to an end, we do have to talk her down from the straight-up killing her, as that's not the Phantom Thief way. But what is the PT way is the welcoming and picking of a code name for a new member. So just like that, Sophie has joined the party, and now with a target, a jail, and a mission, the Phantom Thieves of Hearts are back in business. Almost 2.5 hours of game and about 10 minutes of combat. It feels just like old times. And speaking of those old times, we've got some old connections to go hit up and get prepared with. Gotta have some new stock in store, and Takemi must have an experimental drug or two she needs a guinea pig for. Takemi's off at a conference for the summer. It's a bummer, but we'll manage with the store brand stuff, I guess. Besides, who needs healing when you're packing some serious firepower? Temporarily closed. And this sign looks like it's been up for a while. Jeez, I hope Iwa and his son didn't run into any more Yakuza problems. Okay, so no medicine we can work around, but no medicine or weaponry is a bit more of a problem. Sophia, however, has a solution. The internet. She even offers us a little demonstration.
No prob. The net has it all.
Oh
Ryuji,
god, she's going
is
dark
there
web.
something you want?
A gold bar.
Ryuji?
Okay, I've got it. Please wait.
Oh no. Oh, this is
what?
bad.
Hello? Expedited delivery.
Holy shit, that was fast.
Did
Oh
you
no.
really order a gold
Guys,
bar?
where did you get the funds for this?
Whoa.
Sophia, where did you get the funds for this? I am concerned. Why have we got a gold bar here? Oh
Real?
no.
Shit. What have I done?
That's
real gold.
How big of a gold bar did you order? Did you order like a
No way
full?
Is that real?
That's oh god.
All right. Did that solve your problem?
No! How did you do that? What did you just
I
do?
found an online vendor with expedited delivery.
Expedited delivery! It showed up in like under a minute!
The transaction
Okay.
was made with cryptocurrency.
Oh, Jesus
I will send you
Christ.
an invoice for reimbursement.
Sophia, no.
We have to reimburse you.
Oh, God.
Send it back.
Send
Send the effing thing back.
Alright, so now we know we can get just about anything on the dark web and get that stuff shipped to us without any issues. Sophia's shop is open for business and we can stock up for the infiltration. Well, as best as we can on 7,000 yen anyway. First thing we gotta do is figure out where these desires that have been stolen are being taken. Mona's gotten a whiff of something treasure-like, so it looks like that's the direction we'll be heading for now. The next hour or so is running around trying to make headway on an infiltration route, with our main roadblock being the giant searchlights and Gatling guns. So we're off finding the power generator for the spotlight so we can shut that off so we can find the next roadblock after the searchlights. But that's not the only goal we're working on though. Our main gameplay loop right now is picking as many fights as we can, as each member of the Phantom Thieves not only has their own unique playstyle, but also, through regular play, will unlock new or stronger combos. As fun as this is, we're actually doing this for the 10 achievements linked to mastering each and all of the Master Arts. These Master Arts only unlock as you play as that character and not just having them in the party, so it'll be just like grinding weapon XP and then not using that weapon again because it's maxed out. As it turns out, the Spotlight's power sources are a little more metaphorical here and a moral representation of the things that the Monarch deems to give themselves power. As an example, for Alice, that's things like a dress from her early fashion lineup. Sadly, because this is a game, that means there are 3 of these power sources held in what we're now calling prison keeps. But while we're on our way to grab the second, we mow down our 200th enemy using a Phantom Dash for Phantom Striker. Still, we're getting pretty tired with all this fighting, so we decide to pop out from the jail and rest up. What's that? Won't that move time forward and mean we'll have to wait till tomorrow to have another crack at it? Well, no. See, Strikers decides to ditch the entire time management element of the other games and lets you drop in and out of the metaverse as much as you like. Kind of a bummer as it takes the tension and skill out of doing a single day infiltration, but it does let us check the shop again and pick up something Sophia found for cheap to earn impulse buyer and then come back in with full HP and SP. Meaning it's not long after we've spent enough time button mashing with Joker to unlock their Master Arts for Ultimate Trump Card and snag the last of the power cores. Unfortunately, all our interloping has gotten the ire of the Monarch, who wants us dealt with and disposed of immediately. So the shadows are pulling out all the stops to stop us. I guess we'll just have to fall back and figure out a plan of attack. This is where we get our first introduction to Inspector Hasegawa, our too-good-to-be-true savior when some plastered pillock gets pervy with Arn. He's playing a rather interesting game here, openly telling us not only are the Phantom Thieves being tailed, but that there are also some serious suspicions that these change of heart incidents are the work of the Phantom Thieves. All this just to try and back us into a corner so he can get some concrete evidence from us. But as we know, cops can lie and you should never talk to the cops, so that's a no on his deal to work together. Besides, if we deal with Alice, it's likely she'll confess to what's been going on, and what better evidence is there that it's not our doing than a confession from someone else? We've just got to get past that roadblock. If Futaba could get over the other side, she'd be able to hack in, but she'd need a sizable distraction to keep the searchlights and shadows off her. Well, that settles it. Joker will sit front and center stage, causing a commotion. When the shadows show up, Sophie will then cause a diversion to pull away enemy forces and split their attention. Meanwhile, Arn, Ryuji, and Morgana can shatter the searchlights as Makoto, Haru, and Yusuke keep Futaba safe while she's hacking the terminal. And that explains why we're in the middle of Shibuya causing a scene. The plan goes off without a hitch. We even get a cool cutscene where everyone, bar Sophie, gets a cool moment to show off just how cool they are before we regroup and storm the castle. Once we make it to the roof, Mona gets an even stronger smell of that treasure-like odor around here, but there's just one problem. Once the desires are collected, they all just coalesce into this big ball of shimmering light. I guess we'll just have to use the all-reliable calling card to fix that. There's also this invisible and rather painful barrier that seems to be surrounding the desires too, but it doesn't seem like the kind of lot we can just break through or go around. More like a trauma from Alice's past she's locked the desires behind. And according to Sophie, this trauma originates from some other place in the real world. So we've got even more information to go digging for. Our best lead is the sounds everyone heard when Skull ran face first into the barrier. It sounded like high schoolers bullying Alice, so we've just got to find Alice's old high school. Problem with that is, it seems like she's pulled a Haley Welch and all her information regarding her past has been scrubbed clean off the internet. But guess who just so happens to have access to all of Alice's personal information and will be more than happy to share it with us. At first, Senkichi is still angling for that deal, but when everyone flat out ignores or denies him, he gives up and shares the information as a show of good faith. As it turns out, Alice went to Shujin Academy. How convenient! Even coming back to the school has a certain nostalgia for us, but we can't stand around reminiscing about the past. Instead, let's reminisce about someone else's past! Turns out that Alice was indeed being tormented by some of her classmates, enough to leave her emotionally scarred and giving us one big boss fight to chew through. One anime therapy session later in which we earn Flame Dancer for mastering all of Panther's master arts, and this Lock Keeper is defeated, meaning the path to the desires is cleared and all that's left is the calling card. Right after we do a spot of grinding, because that boss fight kinda kicked our ass. We do end up getting Knife in the Dark for performing 50 ambushes during this grind, along with Technological Marvel for unlocking all of Sophie's master arts. But now with the team sitting around level 16, that should be better for the upcoming boss fight. Probably.
In other news, Akira
Please, it's gonna be the bomb, isn't it? It's gonna be the same thing we did from the last game at the end of it to kick us off with a bang.
Oh.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Been a while, huh?
Perhaps you remember us.
We are the Phantom Thieves, and we're back in action with a new heart in our sights. A wicked witch who treats people like toys. Alice Hiragi.
Oh, even he's okay with this.
You're a bad person, and bad people have to be stopped.
Oh, he's got a smile on his
All
face.
those desires you stole.
Tonight, we're taking them all back.
Haha. Ooh. We even get to talk. Let's go.
What in the Phantom Thieves?
Yes. You remember those, don't you?
Taking my desires? All the desires I've collected? Without those,
So it's our own
Alright.
fear and insecurity.
for you. I don't want toys that don't do as they're told. I'll smash you for certain this time.
I mean, hey. It's kind of a publicity boost.
Well, that certainly got her attention, though it did manifest the desires like we'd hoped. But, just like she said she would, Alice is also there to greet us when we try to take them. Luckily, she's weak to fire and wind, so at the very least, Anne can chew through her down gauge. For some reason that eludes us, the ability to switch your party members during a fight has been thrown out from this game, so here's our tip for guessing who's going to be useful for a boss fight. Whichever character gets the most upset during the cutscenes about the Monarch is one of the boss's weaknesses. As for a specific tip for fighting Alice, if you ever see Feast Your Eyes, then make a beeline to get to that pole first. This will stop her doing a most annoying attack that pretty much requires using one of the very limited amounts of crackers to force her off. Still, after getting across to her that treating people as badly as you were treated is bad, Alice faces her inner thoughts of a waning self-worth and her relapse after doing so well in her fashion, resolving to do and be better, to make good on those words she once believed in. Say it with us, folks. Therapy is for everyone. With Alice renouncing the monarchy and the desires returning to their rightful owners, it seems like everything's gonna go back to normal. This place isn't crumbling like a palace does. That's probably fine, right? I mean, we got Cage of Lost closed, so it's probably fine. See, look at that! Alice had a change of heart, confessing to her actions on TV, and people seem to be going back to their normal selves too. It's gonna be a long and hard road to recovery for Alice, but this is one she started down and is trying to do right with, and that's all we can really ask of her. We wouldn't mind asking a question or two of her though, trying to see just how much of this she's aware of, but that's not exactly gonna be easy to do, what with her blowing up her reputation now. Except for an inspector in PubSec who could run those questions by Alice for us. Gotta admit, the pig is one persistent bastard. Zenkichi unfortunately lets us know that since this isn't an isolated incident, just one person confessing won't be enough to clear suspicion on the Phantom Thieves. Even though it's happening across the entire country and everything Phantom Thieves related was localized to the Tokyo area, Futaba's little stunt with the calling card really lit a fire in the public, meaning the police feel even more justified in pinning everything on us. This is where Zenkichi plays his final card. He doesn't think we're responsible, since he's actually looked over the motives and MOs of these cases. But if he's gonna prove that, then he's gonna need our help. Think of it more like my enemy's enemy type of thing. It also confirms what Futaba had seen while looking over the web for information on Alice fans. Apparently there are similar incidents like this cropping up across the country, so we're just gonna have to bite the bullet and bring him on board.
I see. A jail full of shadows. With
No, you
monarch
don't.
seizing desires, was it? All right.
Okay.
What say we go get you tested for drugs now? Maybe go with some fantasy to sell me. Maybe try a little less spice next time. So, are you gonna answer me or?
Yep.
What? What is this? Isn't real. Whoa.
Oh boy, make sure he's not away. Get him away from the edge. Get him away from the edge.
This
Get him away from the
is our
edge.
Phantom Thief attire.
What even is this? Where am I?
You know, he's taking this better than I thought he would.
Wait, who are you?
She's
Oh,
an
nice.
AI on my phone.
What?
Chill out, Zenkichi. You've got to keep yourself together.
Oh god, not the cat.
Yeah, right. I can't be losing my shit like Monster Cat!
I am not a monster cat.
The hell? How much did I drink last night?
Yeah.
This just has to be a dream. I'm still passed out.
You holding up there, Gramps?
No, he's not.
No need to worry. He's merely having a meltdown. Sounds rather worrisome. Looks like we blew his mind.
Yeah.
Oh, brother.
Probably should have started
Suppose we
small.
may as well head back now.
Well, that went about as well as expected. At least everyone's now working on the same page. We help stop these incidents, and Zenkichi stops us being harassed by the police while we do so. First up is Sapporo. We're needed there by August 8th to help out with a similar incident to Alice. But there's just one small problem with us traveling there. If the group were to travel using public transport, and those travel lines were under the control of these monarchs, well... that. Guess we're gonna have to change up our travel plans a bit. Then again, a road trip across Japan doesn't sound too bad of a way to spend the summer holidays. Plus, if we happen across any other jails along the way, we can deal with them too, thanks to Sophia being able to smell them. Now we just need a set of wheels to get us around. This is where Bean Daddy saves the day. Steve's got a friend who just happens to have an old camper that never gets much use these days that we could borrow. As the 31st rolls around, Zenkichi gets back to us all about his interview with Alice, while Futaba has a look at her version of Emma to see if there's any reason why she was able to make a jail. Apparently Alice was totally out of the loop, but the thrill from the sudden power trip was too alluring to stop. What's worse is Alice's version of Emma is completely normal. At best there's a vague lead of some evidence of snooping on her phone, but the best Futaba can get us is somewhere in Japan. At least Bean Daddy has some good news for us, as our set of wheels is outside. With 4 beds, a roof tent, cooking appliances, power outlets, and a 6-speed gearbox, this retro camper will be our home away from home for the foreseeable future. Now we've just got the 16-hour drive up north to Sapporo. At least we've got a week to get there, so a stop here or there for sightseeing isn't out of the question. We'll even get the chance to try out our cooking skills along the way, like with the famous LeBlanc curry, to earn a short order cook for whipping up a batch. But with the evening drawing in after a day on the road, Sophia helps plan out the last few stops for us. Somewhere to park, somewhere for food, a spot to freshen up, the Masamune statue at Mount Ioba Park, and the local jail causing a change of heart epidemic. Way to jail? Well, looks like Sophia's got another hit for a monarch causing mayhem. Guess we'll be spending a bit more time in Sendai. A city founded over 400 years ago and one of only 20 of Japan's designated cities, with a population of well over 1 million people, our work's going to be cut out finding who here is a monarch of the looming jail here in Sendai. At the very least, once we're parked up for the night at Mount Ioba Park, Sophia is now sure that the scent is definitely that of a jail here in the city. This late at night though, it's going to be hard to find much information, but it also means there's going to be fewer people around the statue of Lord Masamune that Yusuke's been practically foaming at the mouth over getting to see. Well, it can't hurt, and maybe we can ask around about any weird things happening that might help narrow down our search for this jail. Oh, well, that's a rather ghastly sight, seeing the statue covered with tacky posters promoting some book, Prince of Nightmares, that's celebrating its 20th reissue. Not the best look for the author or publishers having these plastered all over here, so we go ahead and tear them all down. Okay, so no clues here, but at least Yusuke's happy. Now to get some food in us. According to Sophia, beef tongue is something of a delicacy here in Sendai, so I guess we're gonna have to try and smuggle Morgana into the restaurant with us, like always. Unsurprisingly, Morgana yelling at everyone to share some food gets noticed by someone at the restaurant. Thankfully, she's nice? Or at least happy to be able to info dump on someone and doesn't even rat out to the restaurant about Morgana being with us. She introduces herself as Kuonichi Nose, a researcher at Toho University. Now, as nice as she is, the last time we had a charismatic yet dorky person in a lab coat give us snacks, he kinda tried to rewrite the entire universe to end all suffering by hijacking the role of a god and puppeting the cognitive world to their will. So we're a little apprehensive of her.
Farewell, young ones.
Aw, she seems nice. Why is she gonna secretly turn out to be like the mastermind behind this whole villainous plot?
So,
I'm just throwing that out there so that if it's right, it's in the video.
Oh, but speaking of overhearing things, the gang ends up learning that there's some author that's going to be out at Sendai Station later on, which we happen to spot while on our way back from our evening meal. There's quite the crowd swarming him, but seeing our group, or at least the girls in our group, he approaches Haru, confusing her as part of his fans, whilst offering a free signed copy of his book, Prince of Nightmares. The group call out Mr. Ungo Natsume for all those flyers littering the Masamune statue, but he deflects that as the work of some of his more zealous fans, and in the same breath moves on to offering a kiss to Haru as if that was some kind of apology. Yeah, this is gonna end up with another lawsuit, or at least it would have if not for Natsume's entourage moving him on. Fucking creep. At least we've got our suspect number 1 as to who's the bastard changing people's hearts here. One quick Google search and things start getting fishier and fishier by the second. The grandson of a renowned writer, Ungo Natsume's debut light novel, Prince of Nightmares, not only won the grand prize in the Sokaisha Awards, but has also sold over 1 million copies, and his fans are practically rabid over him. The scenes of near worship we saw at the station, reports of people being beaten within an inch of their lives over their attire, and even tons of Sendai IP addresses making forum post after forum post every day just praising him. But just to be safe, we'll do some more investigating around the city tomorrow, and we should probably let Zenkichi know about our detour too. After a rather uncomfortable night of sleep crammed into the roof tent, we head on into the city and just do the same thing we did with Alice. Wander around the shopping arcade and try talking to people like some kind of extroverted freak. Oh hey, and Lavenza's here too. Guess we can pop in for a second.
Turning already. Oh no. 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 No, 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 when was the last save?
Well, that's not great. Good thing the last save was only over an hour ago. Fuck! So about 15 minutes later, after skipping all the cutscenes, we're back where we left off with that investigation. Everything we turn up feels pretty similar to Alice. People spending silly amounts of money on his products, people ditching work to go to his events, even some mentions of him plagiarizing other authors for his novel. So, biting the bullet, Yusuke decides to get a copy of the book. It reads shockingly hollow, but what's worse, Futaba finds page after page of copy-paste lines from other manga and anime, all with the bare minimum of effort inserted to pretend that it's his own words. Wouldn't be surprised if he just had Emma make those changes either. The only thing we're missing is his keyword use to trap people in the jail, but we didn't hear any mention of friending people on Emma during the book signing. At the very least, we get the arrival of our pubsec pig in the evening, so the gang can see if he's found anything useful with his resources. He confirms that the Natsume craze is indeed localized to Sendai, but he was also able to confirm that everyone in his fan club all became friends with him through Emma. Great! Now we just need that damn keyword! That's where our dashing hero comes in to save the day again. Grams just happens to have 7 invites for the party being held in celebration of Prince of Nightmares reaching 1 million copies sold. It's a pretty sleazy affair, nothing but people throwing shallow praise to stoke and inflate his ego, and drunk on this adoration, Natsume starts running his mouth, first revealing that the sob story of writing for a hospitalized girl is just as bogus as his writing skills, but then he just had to go and bring up Madarame and his masterpiece, the Sayori, claiming its only value ever came from the lies surrounding it. Well, good news. At least we know this jail's boss will be weak to ice, as Yusuke spins every honeyed word Natsume wants to hear in order to get us that friend keyword before delivering the oh-so-cathartic gut punch.
Now, there is one more thing. I overheard you and your entourage mention the Sayori. If I'm not mistaken, you said it should be thrown out with the trash.
Yep.
As though it were some cheap...
Yusuke, can have at it.
That, did you?
The Sayori was painted by my mother.
Oh! Yes, Yusuke.
Painted the Sayori at the
Oh!
It is her final masterpiece.
Yes.
The painting was cracked. It simply cannot be found anywhere else. Don't you dare lump it in with that soulless drivel you cobbled together from authors far more talented than you. Now,
Fuck yeah. So, Yusuke's going in the party for this, I think. Yeah.
outside, yes?
Let's go.
Next morning, we make our preparations for heading into the jail with some home cooking and even nab a quick achievement in Best Friend for maxing out one of the many Bond skills available. We'll need to make a bunch of different recipes for another achievement anyway, so we'd have had to get this sooner or later. Anyway, with a good luck curry consumed, the gang pop in the keyword, and sure enough, the Phantom Thieves arrive in their second jail, home to the monarch, Ungo Natsume. His influence extends across most of the city, creating large gothic structures built high over the city's skyline and populated with cliché drivel-spouting henchmen calling themselves the Fearsome Four. At the very least, they also follow the stupid rules of just letting us pass once we beat them up. The other nice thing here is that Fox recognizes a lot of this straight from the copy of Prince of Nightmares he bought, meaning we basically have all our answers for where to go and what to do right there in the book. What's not so nice is the game actually trying to put some tension back in by just removing your ability to leave the jail. A cheap rug pull used on us, but hey, maybe we'll actually have to try now. At the very least, getting a health top up for every ambush we perform does help take the edge off things. This place plays out pretty similarly to Shibuya, just with a different reason slapped in. We go grab 3 cores from 3 prison keeps throughout the jail in order to lower some barrier that's blocking our way. We do get a little stumped trying to find our way through at one point though, but this was mainly due to us not realizing that you'll grab the edge of a platform to pull yourself up with, which was, fun. Still, with us trekking across the city in search of a bunch of orbs to open several gates or doors to get to each of the 3 keeps we need to raid to open another door, and dealing with the other members of the knockoff Ginyu Force, not only do we get the ability to leave and re-enter the jail, but also swipe a few more achievements. Unshakable Teamwork for performing our 150th all-out attack in combat, mastering all of Queen's martial arts for Fist of Justice, and unlocking Gentleman Thief for unlocking all of Mona's master arts. But more importantly, we get to greet our son once more.
What can I make?
Awaken
Anything?
yourself.
My son! I can make my son! Yes! Yeah! Look at my boy! Look at my fucking boy! Let's fucking go. Hell yeah. We have Jack Frost. Life is good. Nothing else matters.
Yeah, in Royal Way Back, we came across a Jack Frost who we fell in love with, all because it simply begged us not to kill it. So we went ahead and maxed out all its stats, gave it the strongest attack of each element, and boom! Our son was born. Ah, good times those were. Shame those systems don't exist in this game. There is something slightly similar for boosting a persona's stats we'll be using later on, but it just doesn't feel quite as good. So with all our back and forth, doing some light grinding to get all those master arts unlocked, by the time we've got the third of those cores, it's getting pretty late, and that good luck curry can only carry us on for so long. And given the castle's open to us and there's still plenty of time before we have to be in Sapporo, the group call it here for today so they can rest up. Once we're back in the real world and finished our hearty meal, Futaba has some rather disturbing news. Some of Alice's fans are still acting as though their desires have been taken. But that can't be right. We watched them all go back, didn't we? It'd be great if we knew more about these jails, but it's not like we can afford the 4.5-hour drive just to go back and investigate some more. Sophia, once again, comes to the rescue. She's done a little poking around with the jails herself and found that since there's no longer a monarch, we can use a back door-like function to return there. Pretty handy, and actually a nice addition to this game, being able to revisit previous levels rather than refight enemies in mementos. So not only can we go back and grind if we want, but this gives us a new mechanic to play with. Requests. We're gonna have to do 50 of these requests that come our way as we progress through the game for another achievement, but there are 8 requests that can only be completed on certain days for a different achievement. Just remember to accept any requests before you try to complete them, or they won't track. So we have a go poking around the Shibuya jail and find a shadow with a bunch of desires in its possession. Looks like not every desire was returned, and if a shadow happens to get its hands on them, well, we'll just have to track them down and take them back. And for finishing this first request, we earn a helping hand once we report it in. Now then, time to rest up and prepare to siege the castle. Now the 3rd of August is a very important date. Remember those requests that can only be done on certain days? Well, those all come from fellow members of the Phantom Thieves. You'll know when they show up, as one member of the group will end up messaging you, asking you to meet with them for something. When that happens, basically just drop whatever you were doing and go see what the problem is. Take Ann, for example. She's heard there are some regional sweets that could be found in Sendai, and, since we're already here, she'd love to see if she can find them to try. It's a bit cheeky, but she sends us a request for a Zunda shake, Zunda daifuku, and a gyaitan ice cream. It doesn't take us too long to find the stores selling these sweets, and seeing Ann's smile puts Morgana into full-on simp mode. He now wants to try and find something even more amazing than the selection of sweets Ann asked for. Sophia does a quick search and gets a hit on a legendary parfait, but it has an extremely limited quantity, the Zunda Supreme Parfait. After asking around a bit, we get a lead that it's found on the secret menu in a local cafe that can only be accessed once you give them the correct password. So now we head on over to the station to eavesdrop on this guy who happened to find out that password so we can learn the password, then give that to the manager at the cafe in order to order the parfait to then give to Morgana to give to Anne. Oh, the things Ren does for his friends. But since we're completing requests, we go ahead and clear up the rest of them that we have now. Most of them are pretty simple, either requiring us to refight the previous monarch or defeating a set number of specific enemies with their weakness. But with the warm-up for the day done, let's say we finally storm that castle. There's quite a few foes waiting beyond the gate now that it's opened up to us, but thanks to all this unintentional grinding while trying to level up those master arts, we mow through these minions and even score our 6th of the 10 master arts achievements when we finish up Foxes for Peerless Blade. Once we fight through wave after wave of enemy in the castle, much like with Alice's jail, we end up on the roof and see the giant cage with chains and a lock surrounding it. Alright, Skull, time to run headfirst into the invisible barrier. Instead of a high school bully leaving this deep trauma, Ango seems to be a bit more recent, overhearing some of his publishers claiming his grandfather's talent must have died with him, bemoaning how bland and uninspiring his work is in comparison to others, but that his name alone will still earn them a mint, especially now that he's won that award. In terms of finding where this is, we were lucky enough to overhear an order for a Gatorade coffee, and Gatorade happens to be the name of a specific cafe chain. There just so happens to be only one of those near Sendai Station. However, this is a massive coffee chain. What are the chances that the one store in Sendai just happens to be the source of this trauma? So once we're in the trauma cell and take care of the exact same boss, just with a different weapon, we have unlocked the cage surrounding the desires, but also learnt more about what Natsume has been going through. All of his efforts efforts ignored, rejection after rejection, and when he finally thought he'd earned his recognition for his work, it turns out it was only because his grandfather's name makes him worth exploiting. All the while, loneliness leaving those words to echo around him, a feeling not too dissimilar to what Yusuke went through only a year ago. Had it not been for the Phantom Thieves helping him both during and after, it's a path he himself admits he might have fallen into. Us or a therapist, therapy helps too. But now that we've gotten an infiltration route, it's calling card time. We fill Gramps in on the plan so far, who draws a line at repeating the same stunt like we did with Alice, what with it probably being illegal. We'll need something that'll be guaranteed to be noticed by Natsume, but it'll also be subtle enough that we can set it up without being noticed. Good news though, there's going to be another book signing at the station bookstores tomorrow. Now, if only we had an exploitable adult who could feasibly get in there this late at night and plant the calling cards for us to avoid suspicion befalling us. Thanks, Gramps!
What is this?
Well, when the staff came to open the store this morning, it was already like this. They called the police, but they were told to leave it as is, to preserve the crime scene.
Ah, that's what Zenkichi was there.
Swindler, Mr. Ango Natsume. You are a depraved miscreant who holds others in contempt and steals their work.
Hell yeah.
In your own pockets all the while. We refuse to overlook the crimes you commit as you wear a false crown. Tonight,
hell yeah.
We take back the desires you've stolen.
Oh, yep, you believe it.
I am the monarch. My followers are loyal.
You're a
That
dipshit.
is, as long as I hold their desires. No. Having those desires is proof of my claim to power. Proof of my sovereignty.
But you know it was all fake, because when they tried to, when those twats in the suits tried to help you, be like, no, they don't care. You're obviously great. You rejected them because you knew it was hollow.
Just like with Alice, and get used to hearing us say that, Natsume is waiting with the desires, and despite Fox's cutting words, we're gonna have to do this the fun way. With his true form revealed to us, it's just like with Pokemon. Giant intimidating dragons are all weak to a sprinkling of snow. Just make sure you save the 4 icicles for when you really need them, and be sure to lure Natsume over before you do detonate them, as the range isn't as big as you might think, but they'll do a number on his down gauge. There's also the giant piles of swords you can fling at him. Unlike the ice, these won't run out, so go ahead and spam these as much as you like. But with our new pincushion made, even the Cognition's facade of power crumbles to nothing more than a thin cardboard cutout from which to hide behind. But with everything laid bare, he finally admits to all the pain that burdens his heart, having lived as the hollow identity of Sogo Natsume's grandson, never being seen for his work, his effort, his name. And that's when when Yusuke reaches out to him. He acknowledges his effort and affirms that Ango's ability to have kept going after all this time is what's truly admirable. And just like that, barely 5 hours after first entering the jail, it's over, earning us Cage of Vanity closed. Honestly, if it wasn't for the grinding we'd done, we could have blitzed through this in like half the time. It's quite the shock going from days to clear out a palace to just hours for finishing a jail. Let's hope this doesn't end up with the game feeling rushed. But just like with the Shibuya jail, even though the desires scatter and return to their owners, the jail here in Sendai still stands. At the very least, what also doesn't change is that with the monarch defeated, Ango Natsume also has a change of heart and confesses to the rigged competition, the plagiarism, and even the fabricated story of the little girl in a press conference. He even starts making his amends there and then, vowing to recall and refund every copy of the book sold before stating that he will simply end his writing career. However, this is where Yusuke once again stands up to Natsume, spurring him on not only to fix his failings, but to return to the literary world with a book that has his name on it. So now, it looks like there is at least one person who's waiting to read the words of Ango Natsume. Now, while we have stopped another jail's operations, unfortunately the interrogations Zenkichi has with Natsume goes about the same as Alice's. He doesn't know why it happened, but once people became friends through Emma, they'd start going fanatical. But there is that trace of snooping around like before. This whole situation feels weird. It feels like the jails are being made by someone else and these monarchs are just a figurehead running things. It's why the police have these two seemingly random incidents linked. Their timing. All these incidents started cropping up around 3 months ago, which, funnily enough, just so happens to be when Emma was released to the general public. If we had more evidence, a full-scale investigation into Mediz could be possible, but the only way we'll get that is chasing more leads. Now, while we could take off right away for Sapporo, there's still 3 days before we're needed there, and there's a wonderful Tanabata festival to enjoy here in Sendai, so we get another wonderful moment to see the thieves hang up the masks and just be friends. With the festivities done, before
before we turn in for the night, Gramps gives us a call asking us to stick around just a little longer tomorrow, since there'll be a presentation at Toho University up in Mount Niobe campus. A presentation hosted by one Akira Konoe, the CEO of Medice. If nothing else, it wouldn't be a bad idea for us to learn more about him and Medice. The lecture seems fairly innocuous, mostly him trying to push how good Emma is and how wonderful the idea of having an AI make all your important life choices for you is. Unfortunately, we told Gramps we'd keep a low profile, or else the lecture would have ended right there and then with us storming the stage and beating the twat for this outlandishly absurd and reductive view of human existence. But it looks like that whole low profile part ended up going out the window anyway, since everyone's chatter, literally name dropping that they are the Phantom Thieves, gets noticed by none other than Ichinose. She quite literally overheard everything, but is more curious than anything, especially since she is the person who designed the base for what Emma became. It's because of her why the lecture even happened in the first place when she reached back out to Medice after selling them her design. But with our cover blown, we might as well go all in and give her the rundown on everything and see if she might know anything that could help us out. Weirdly enough, Ichinose takes this way better than Gramps did and is actually ecstatic at the possibilities of what this means for scientific research. At the very least, this does mean she's excited to help us, but we still can't shake the feeling that there's something off about all of this. But we can't get all hung up on our suspicions. After all, we've got just 2 days and 800 kilometers to cover. Next up, Sapporo. Well, with our early morning lecture finished, the crew gears up for the long drive ahead. Thankfully, with plenty of breaks, the 12 hours fly by over the next 2 days, and we're in Sapporo around midday on the 8th. And would you look at that? Sophia's already picked up a very intense jail scent here. While we could jump into investigating right away, the gang has just spent 2 full days cooped up in the camper, so first things first, bathhouse. While on our way over to the spot Sophia picked out for us, we happen to glance over at a mother and daughter laying flowers down in the park. Makoto remembers hearing about some accident involving a snow sculpture collapsing, which took the life of a little girl here. Seems these flowers are in mourning from the family. Anywho, bathhouse time.
Now this is paradise.
Hell yeah.
I'll say. The heat has crept into my bones. I've learned a valuable lesson on this journey. Sometimes you simply need to enjoy being naked.
And that means what exactly? Anyways.
Oh,
let's
you
have a
stay.
bath.
Whoa, On! Are those CGI? What cheat codes did you use to get those? Dieting like that? So skinny. Yeah.
Futaba.
Could you stop drawing attention to me?
What the hell?
No different.
Guys,
Could you please
this is
sit
open
down?
air.
Remember, it's not only us in here.
Guys, we can hear you. Yep. Looking good, Ryuji.
Aw, thanks.
Aw.
Really working these abs. Wait, what?
So with the body and mind refreshed and making Byren more and more canon, we get a call from Gramps who wants to give us the rundown on just who the police have been keeping their eyes on here. Mariko Hyodo, the mayor of Sapporo Central. According to Gramps, over the past 2 months, her approval rating has ballooned 50 points to a staggering 88%. But it's not just the general public's opinion of her that's off. 3 councilmen who stood in opposition of one of her bills all admitted to corruption and then resigned. Any other councilmen who are in opposition of her have all suddenly become bigger advocates of her than right-wingers are of losing their Medicare. But with election season coming up, Hyodo is looking to encroach her influence to a national level. The good news is, though, she's made multiple references to Emma during her campaign speeches, so finding out her keyword shouldn't be an issue. Stupidly enough, Senkichi hasn't actually found out what that keyword is yet, but hey, Mariko will be speaking in Suzushino on the 10th, so if we can listen in, then we've got a lead. Haru's been awfully quiet during this briefing, a little lost in her thoughts over a familiar sounding name. Oh god, please don't let Haru be this monarch's weakness. She's literally the only person we haven't done anything with this whole time. Kinda like Persona 5 actually. We're warned to keep our distance so as to not arouse suspicion of the mayor, which reminds us, we should probably tell Gramps about what happened at the lecture. He's a little ticked off about us creating more liabilities to deal with, but at the same time, Ichinose has been one of the names in the investigation list for Medice, so this is a nice way of getting that intel and some further insider help. But with Mariko's speech on the 10th, that means we've got the whole day to enjoy the sights, and more importantly, the food of Hokkaido. There's even enough time to stop by the government building to enjoy the fantastic garden of flowers there. And while you might hear government building and worry about us being there, it's the former office, and it's unlikely that we'd run into the mayor here, especially when she'll be so busy with the election season.
This flower is completely wilted.
Oh.
How could you overlook this?
I mean, flowers
I'm so
do
sorry.
that.
Spare me your excuses. This flower bed is one
Aha.
of the city's main points of attraction.
All right.
Jeez,
That's
one
the
scary
mayor.
lady.
Oh, hold on. Did he just call her mayor?
I'm sorry
Yes.
you had to witness such unprofessional behavior from our staff during
Our
your visit.
staff? What the hell are you on
no.
about it?
You're Haru-chan.
You know her?
Me, Mariko Hyodo. Your father, President Okumura.
Oh, that makes
Friend of mine.
things so much better and worse at the same time.
She's the
That's
mayor.
probably not.
don't panic.
Oh, this is fine.
Haru, do
Well,
you-
okay then.
He
This
is
makes
the
things
person.
better and
She
worse.
used to come visit me back when I was little. They used to go golfing all the time.
Oh god, they
She
went
always
golfing?
took me
Kill her
with me whenever I
now.
was-
I'm so sorry about what happened to your father.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
it's been like
Thank you for your concern.
7, 8
Well,
months.
if there's anything that's been
something like
troubling
that.
you know that I'm here for you with open arms.
I
Aw,
appreciate
thank
you
you.
saying that.
Don't just stare at the ground. Replace these hideous flowers at
I'm getting a very
once.
big Queen of Hearts vibe from her, which is very funny considering the first one was Wonderland.
Well, that just happened. At least it confirms we're going to need to grind Haru up for this jail. We should also do a little investigating now that the nightlife has picked up, even though we're like 99% sure that she's the monarch. It's pretty much more of everything Zenkichi had told us about. Let's just wait for the speech tomorrow and we'll confirm if she's the monarch or not with her keyword.
Holy
It's just-
shit.
Yeah.
You stepped into a cult.
Her popularity
Hmm.
is unbelievable.
I imagine some of them came of their own
I mean, here's the thing. Some of it's going to be FOMO. Some of it's going to be one of those, like, things get bigger because things are big.
Look,
The
What?
is Snow City.
Shouldn't we be stopping her right now?
No, we stop her now, we're in trouble. We'll get beaten to a pulp.
No.
Snow
Then
City,
let's go,
huh?
everyone. If
Okay.
Mari-san really is the monarch, only we can stop her.
It's time to save Sapporo. Remember, we're doing this to save people, not to
Alright.
stop her. There is a
Let's
big
ready up and
difference.
begin infiltration.
There's a very big difference. She's got Snow City, so if everyone's been really similar, we should probably... Yeah, worry about the cold. It's literally... Oh my god, look at Sophia! Look at her! Oh no! Guys! Well, we went into a desert the last time, I guess. A blizzard winter wonderland is not gonna be too bad, huh? Ah. Okay, why the cutlery though?
Looks like she is indeed our monarch, and the welcome committee is just what we needed to finish Skull's master arts for Jolly Roger. Now that means we can throw Haru into the party for some much needed XP by clearing up some requests, where we also end up earning Item Sweeper for nabbing 200 items from jails. 20 minutes of request completing and a quick shopping spree for some mittens and thick woolly jumpers later, Haru's up to level 27 and we're much better prepared for the Sapporo jail. And it's our own personal hell, since most of the fights early on are littered with Jack Frost, who are always painful for us to put down. As for exploring the jail, thanks to the near Arctic temperatures, the massive ice walls that obstruct our path mean that we're not able to beeline right for the castle. But the routes open to us do take us past a couple of prison keeps and cores. Unfortunately, taking the cores out of these unguarded keeps end up unleashing a dense snowstorm on us, which makes it so much harder to navigate here. Luckily, we did see what looks like a giant space heater on our way here, and after mowing down a couple waves of shadows, we find another one, which we can use to not only unfreeze Oracle, but with the other three combined, it could clear up that blizzard blocking our path. Guess we've got our gameplay loop for this jail. While rifling through some of our items for SP recovery, we also happen to notice a couple incense items that we've picked up, and using any one of these earns us Seeker of Power for using one. Then shortly afterwards, we finished with Haru's Master Arts thanks to the droves of enemies for Sophisticated Lady. Now we can use whoever we want in the party since we're done with those for now. After more fights and a rather underwhelming snowboarding section to get our remaining keeps and cores, all those large ice barriers are down, meaning the part of the castle is just a straight shot to gun it through.
Huh? Okay.
Something's coming. Hide!
Oh my god! Oh! Holy sh! I fucking love them. Let's fucking go. Oh my god, there's so many of them.
These little freaks.
What the fuck are you talking about? They're great.
The he-horde from hell!
I can hardly believe my eyes.
Let's head back to reality.
I like how none of them. Hee-ho! Hee-ho!
Hee-ho!
Eh!
Hee-ho!
Oh, hell yeah. No! Bad! Hee-ho! See? Yusuke gets it.
They're infected.
Hee-ho, no.
Good bit.
Okay.
Okay, well, scratch any plans we had. Guess we'll come back tomorrow once the cleaning session is over. Then just our luck, look who we run into again trying her hardest to outdo Amazon for shittiest working conditions for employees. Despite our whole keep a low profile thing, this can't be ignored, so the crew rock up and get this man to where he can get the treatment he needs. Unsurprisingly, Mariko doesn't see what she's doing as cruel, heartless, and honestly downright evil, but rather a reluctant, tough love to make sure people do what needs to be done for her sake. Haru is concerned over what caused this drastic and callous demeanor in her, but we won't know unless we can make it through that castle tomorrow. Though tomorrow is the 11th, which means there's another of those requests from a member of the Phantom Thieves to complete. Ryuji's been thinking about ramen ever since we got here in Sapporo, and there's supposed to be a legendary ramen that's got his appetite and curiosity enraptured. Unfortunately, according to Sophia, the store that sells this ramen has meal tickets for it, which sell out almost the instant the place opens, which includes today, sadly. But there is another way, as there are some places which have additional meal tickets meant to be sold to tourists that want to try it. Once we track down one of these places, the manager of the store refuses to sell us any tickets, since the overworked chef is likely to blow out his elbow if he keeps making the stuff at the pace he has to. So now we're off to find some wonder material that can be used to craft a custom compression sleeve for the chef, so we can buy some meal tickets to get that ramen for Ryuji. Once Sophia has the samples, we exchange that and get the ability to buy 2 meal tickets, so we can enjoy that legendary ramen. Hell, maybe the ramen will help keep us warm in the castle? After solving a Skyrim difficulty level ice puzzle and getting accosted by some mildly nasty shadows, the crew are within reach of the Desires, meaning it's time for Skull's favorite job. This ice gripping Mariko's heart all seems to stem from that accident with the sculpture which resulted in the death of a child. As the mayor at the time, she took full responsibility for the incident and all of the guilt that came along with it, but learned afterwards that another council member had been skimming the budget for a kickback from a shoddy building contractor, which is the real cause for the collapse. Hey, at least figuring out where this location for the trauma stems from is easier than last time. And once we've visited those flowers, punched in the keyword, and defeated the same enemy in the trauma cells for a 3rd time, all that's left for us to do now is send a calling card. The group have a little philosophical discussion over the morality of everyone involved in this incident. Who was worse here? Was it the contractor whose shoddy building work caused the collapse, or was it the person who took the bribe and allowed that contractor the job in the first place? This is the first time the Phantom Thieves get to see Tenkichi as more than some slightly awkward old guy. Even if it's hard for him to say, his bleak but sadly realistic look at the world means regardless of whoever is in the right or wrong, as the person in the position of power, the responsibility falls to Mariko. And her actions with the power of the jail are inexcusable. Hey, at least he's still good for setting up our calling cards. After all, he did tell us to keep a low profile, and by doing this, it further solidifies his role as an accomplice should the gang get arrested.
You put
Mariko Kyoto,
7?
false empress with a frozen heart.
Hell
You
yeah.
Take back the desires you stole this very night?
Oh, do we get to see what she looks like? Because we haven't seen her as a monarch yet. Ooh.
And they say they're going to steal my desires?
So yeah, she may not be, like, consciously aware of this kind of stuff,
I wonder what
but her
you'll
subconscious and the cognitive
Perhaps I
world
should follow
is.
you up and find out.
Sorry about the wait. We're here to kick ass and...
Okay. Interesting.
Silence!
Well, that explains all the frozen spoon and cutlery and stuff.
Nothing wrong. I will bring out every last ounce of corruption from my staff.
Is she looking for, like...
Take them into the ground. Only then can I build a safe haven of
Yes.
Snow City.
She reminds me of Ursula. I can see that. I see it, yeah.
Isn't it better to let them arrive at their own conclusions? To follow their own hearts?
No, because look what happened last time.
Good job, Muir.
Oh, look at Sophie.
Say goodbye to the countless first desires he stole.
Alright, let's see what she turns into. First was a giant bunny. Second was a giant dragon. Let's see. What do you become? You're just gorging yourself bigger and bigger. Oh! Okay, okay. Hi. Why do you just remind me of Eater of Millions? Oh, that's, alright.
Well, that's a rather drastic change in appearance. This fight has several phases to it, and Mariko herself has two forms that she switches between. When she gets mad, she'll effectively remove one of the party members from the fight with the move Dinner Time, which totally is not one of the dev's kinks. But don't worry if someone does get eaten. Dropping one of the 4 chandeliers onto Mariko will make her spit them out. At half health, she'll add the new attack Shiver and Quiver, which summons a snowstorm like we've seen before, forcing everyone to move and act slower. But just like before, running to the heaters fixes everything. Honestly, if you just stay behind her with Haru, you won't have a hard time here. Once defeated, Haru consoles the grieving Mariko. For her, the betrayals from her staff while shouldering the burden of their greed and corruption led her to this cold, isolated stance, not wanting to leave and let some other scum spread their own corruption. To her, ensuring that she was in this position of power meant that it could be used to make things right. A self-righteous and self-loathed crown of thorns. But after hearing the very words she told Haru all those years ago, she agrees to do what is truly right. Meaning with another anime therapy session concluded, so is the monarchy's rule over Sapporo awarding us Cage of Gluttony torch. When tomorrow rolls around, Mariko announces her resignation as mayor and that she'll be dropping out of the election too, while confessing that not only was the unforeseeable disaster a few months ago caused by the bribing of one of her staff, but also that by covering this up, she clung to her position of power and ran from the responsibility. With her being taken into the local police department for questioning, Zenkichi manages to pull a few strings and be the one who'll be driving her there, meaning if we should just so happen to run into him, there might be an opportunity to speak with her face to face. It's in this tearful reunion and departure that Mariko is confronted by the mother of Kaho, the victim of the tragedy, where she outright demands that Mariko run again for mayor, not running away, but rebuilding the people's trust. Anyway, back to our road trip. Since everyone's got time to kill till Gramps gets back, Sophia recommends the nearby Ferris wheel. What we weren't expecting is the hardest decision in the entire game. Who do we invite to go with us? In taking so long to make a choice, Zenkichi ends up dropping by to let us know his conversation with Mariko ended up the same as everyone else. No clue why it happened, but she was able to control people who friended her on Emma. I guess that means we're back to square one with this investigation. At best, we've got our hunch that some mastermind has been setting up these jails, considering how all 3 monarchs seem to have their ambitions distorted with this power rather than generating this power through their own distortion. The other clue pointing to this is actually those giant locks we've seen when Morgana starts flipping his thinking. What if instead of locking people out, that trauma is being used to lock the monarchs in? We've got no clue as to who that somebody could be though, outside of whoever's left traces of snooping on people's phones. That and Medice, since Emma is instrumental in all of this. With perfect timing, Ichinote gives us a call and an update on her end. While there's been no noticeable changes to any of the software, a lot of the change logs were coming all the way from an off-the-record research lab in Kukojima, an island off the coast of Okinawa. It's about twice as long a drive for us to get there, but Zenkichi will be coming along with us this time, since he'll be calling this a police investigation to get a look into this lab. Alright then, I guess we'd better gear up while we're still here in Sapporo and strap in for the long ride, cause we're off now to Okinawa. Okay, so thanks to our newest lead, we've got about 3,200 kilometers and 2 ferry trips to get ourselves down to this research lab, which is going to be quite the journey. With Zenkichi helping with the driving, that'll ease up the pressure on Makoto, but he does say we're going to make a quick pit stop in Kyoto, which is pretty much en route anyway. While we're making sure we've got plenty of snacks for the trip, we talked with Futaba, who came across this funky little statue thing and decided to pick it up for the camper, which also picks us up the achievement A Little Memento as we set off from Sapporo. The late night drive is a nice opportunity to unwind with Gramps for a bit, even getting to talk more about being a class-betraying oppressive scumbag and how it will distance you from your family and friends. Still, Gramps does seem rather hung up on that whole family thing, but it's probably nothing important. Still, the weirdest thing is that after pulling an all-nighter, that 21-hour drive seems to have taken just half the time, as around noon, the crew's already a stone's throw away from Kyoto. Also, we've no idea how long Gramps has been awake at this point, but it's gotta be well over 24 hours at this point. That can't be good for his health. The now tedious feeling drive is interrupted when we have to answer a call for Zenkichi. Whoever this Akane is on the other end of the phone did not sound happy with him, since they were supposed to be visiting Mum's grave today. Uh-oh. And now Akane thinks he's out partying since he heard the girls talking in the background. Oh boy. Once we reach the city limits, Zenkichi rushes off telling us he'll catch back up with us tomorrow, leaving us to piece together what exactly to do. Eventually, the group decides that since they're partly to blame for Akane getting the wrong idea, they'll just have to go and straighten things out with her.
Akane?
I'm not here for excuses. Go have fun with your girls. Goodbye.
No, you don't understand. I'm on the job right now.
Do not come near me again. Got it? Can't even catch Mom's killer.
Oh, shit.
Way I
Jesus,
see it,
Akane.
You're no father to me.
Jesus,
well,
Akane.
You know...
That is, like, painfully
Hang on a
harsh.
second. Please?
What? You guys? What are you doing here?
Yeah.
Sorry to barge in on this, but please, we have to tell you something first. We're working a case together, so we were all traveling as a group until he ran off to meet you. Since your father volunteered to handle the driving, he answered the phone instead. He was driving us all to Kyoto.
Yep.
We're so sorry we upset you.
We went from Sapporo to here.
I see. I'm sorry for jumping the gun and making a scene like that.
Whoa, she's so well behaved.
We are so sorry he got here late. That's totally our fault too. Oh no, it's fine.
No, it's not.
I'm sorry too, Akane. I promise. I really did remember it was today.
You told me none of this. Couldn't you have simply explained all this to me before today? In the Force, any information about a case that leaks to the public could ruin all our hard work.
Come on, just cut him some slack.
Sure,
I
you know,
don't got a
sometimes
right to
there's...
talk, considering all the hell I put my own mom.
Honestly, yeah, I was gonna say, Ryuji's probably the
taking care of
best
you,
one to
right?
actually
So
do this, to like
bite
talk
his
this
head
kind of
off
stuff.
over this.
We're not trying to pile on you, though. I'm sure you have your own reasons
Troy
for
has
what
to
you
grow up
said.
fast to support her dad.
His
Yeah, I
story
mean, by the looks of
really
it,
was because of work.
there's no mom.
Please, at least
She's got
don't
no
think
dad
about it.
around most of the time. She's basically doing everything. Zenkichi did nothing wrong. Look, it's our fault. If you want to be angry at anyone, you be angry at us, okay?
I understand.
It's okay to be angry at us.
Thank you.
can lash out.
Akane-chan.
We especially regret causing trouble on such an important day.
Had
May
we known.
pay our respects as well? Sure.
I'm not sure
Guys,
why would it.
Thanks.
Once we're done paying our respects, Akane storms back off home. Before we all go chasing after her, the group decides that we're gonna help these two a little more with a nice home-cooked meal. We've been buying out every store of all its food stock, so it's not exactly like we're short on supplies, and getting the chance to talk more with Akane will put everyone's minds at ease. The family meal is a nice little break, letting us get a quiet moment for things to slow down and just see the group all relax and interact a little more. And with a clean plate of recommendation on the curry from Akane, things wind down for the evening. Especially since that whole day's worth of driving is starting to catch up with Gramps.
Oh no.
God!
Oh god, what is it? Oh!
Really all Phantom Thieves merch?
I didn't even know they made this much.
They are real famous, you know. Pretty sure some of these
that's
were only
brilliant.
on super obscure websites.
There are even some handmade ones.
Look at all
that's
that
not it,
stuff. She
Akane-chan.
is a mega fan.
Yeah.
Her laptop is red and black. Her clothing is red and black. Everything in here is red and black. She has a poster. Makoto is giving us all a loaded expression. Tell us about them. This is actually good for us as well, because we get a public perception of them.
Maybe I could let you in on the show.
The show?
What show?
What you got?
It's a live stream that's sort of all about the Phantom Thieves.
Oh, sure.
How interesting.
Well, at least we'll get to see what the phantom freaks really think about us. And there's a fair few of them too. Akane's pulling in 50k subs on this stream. Once she's done with her live stream, we hang out a little more while Makoto does what she does best and helps Akane prepare for those high school entrance exams. Just like the old times. It's also nice seeing Akane getting to open up to us a little. The two used to live in Tokyo, but moved down here after Akane's mum's death, and ever since, she's been rather closed off to everyone, as seeing Zenkichi know that her mother was murdered but not do anything about it has been hard on her. Akane was a witness to the incident that took her mother's life, and when the secretary of the man behind the wheel left behind a suicide note falsely confessing to being responsible for it, the case was deemed closed, with no further questions asked. Man, it got really quiet in here all of a sudden! When morning rolls around, we say our goodbyes to Akane and make our way to the ferry in Kobe that takes us right to Okinawa. It's a pretty nice little town that's only recently become as populated as it is, but with the beautiful ocean view and golden beaches, it's easy to forget that we're here for that research lab that's supposed to be somewhere on the island. And with Sophia not being able to find anything online about its location, guess that means we'll have to go and do some legwork to find it. Most of our questions turn up very little, but Zenkichi sniffed out some larger building further inland. Considering the rest of the architecture here, large building does seem to stand out like a sore thumb, so we go poking around there. While Sophia does have a bad feeling about the place, at the very least she doesn't smell a jail, so that's good. Unfortunately, the place is closed till the 18th, and while we could sneak in there, Gramps vetoes that, since it'd make the whole trip pointless with any evidence obtained being illegal and useless in court. Oh well, I guess that means we'll just have to go enjoy the rest of the day at that picturesque beach, surrounded by friends and enjoying delicious foods. Oh, the work of a phantom thief can be cruel and taxing at times. But with the sun setting in a beautiful golden glow, Makoto asks if we could swing by for a favor. She wants to play a game of Sukawari, the traditional Japanese game where you split a watermelon while blindfolded and disorientated. It's actually our easiest request yet, just asking for a watermelon whilst Queen goes and warms up on some Jack Frost. Once we remember to actually accept the damn request so it'll track, Queen is all warmed up and smashes the watermelon with her bare hands, begging the question just how many people wish that watermelon was them. Now while we were off looking for a watermelon, we saw Morgana exploring around the edge of the beach, and he's come across some suspicious area with the big no entry sign. Now curiosity might have killed the cat, but surely with the rest of us around that wouldn't happen, especially when Zenkichi again vetoes the adventure since the area is considered holy ground and trespassing would land us in some serious trouble. So let's just cap off the day with a nice evening meal. Okay, well that's not creepy as fuck. Okay. What is going on in here? Okay. Yo, Zenkichi, I hope he's just waiting under there. Yeah. Zenkichi? Damn.
What? Hey, it's empty.
Oh.
Find them. We have to punish them for defiling hollow ground.
What?
Find them. We'll make an offering out of them. Where are they?
Okay, this is very bad. This is very, very bad. Well, there goes our peaceful vacation. A good spot from Zenkichi too, realizing that something was up with the locals while we were enjoying dinner. But their rage is over defiling some hollowed ground, and the only place we've been today is that lab. Also, this has gone from being ticked off into a full-blown bloodlust with this mob. It's like they've all had a change of heart, but there's no jail here, so they couldn't have. Still, if they're this pissed at us for going to the lab, then there's no point waiting around in the bushes. We might as well get in there and see what's going on. The place is thankfully still deserted, but it's then the group sees a curious sight. That sign saying the lab will be closed till the 18th gets updated to say that it's going to be closed till the 19th. Seems like this place is on a permanent vacation. After Zenkichi deals with the guy in, self-defense, Futaba checks over his phone to scan his Emma app and figure out if there really has been a change of heart here. Good news, he's only got one friend on the app, one Shuzo Ubukata. As for the keyword, that information came in an email to this guy about being a tester for Emma, Operation Oraculi. So everyone here was asked to be a beta tester for Emma and ended up having their hearts changed in a jail, it seems. Guess that confirms that Medice is very much involved with this whole debacle. The really fishy thing happens when we try adding this Ubukata person on Emma. Sophia can suddenly smell a jail, and guess where we end up? Okay.
This is very different.
Oh, Queen.
You alright? Yep, all fine here.
Now the question is, does that...
You sure don't sound fine.
Aw, she did that thing again.
For you too, Can.
Oh.
We're just friends.
Hey, we dated!
At least the good thing is that here in the jail, we're not going to end up being lynched by that mob. And if we can restore their desires, then that should also defuse the whole situation. While coming up with our game plan for how to explore and keep Zenkichi safe here, Sophia darts off ahead hearing some voice calling her name. Luckily, she didn't get too far from us, and while catching up with her, we ended up finding some old tape recording documenting the experiments being performed on these unknowing test subjects. As we explore further throughout the abandoned lab, we end up finding more of those tape recordings too, learning that these experiments had been going on around the same time Shido and his group had learned to manipulate the cognitive world. These incidents aren't just some new occurrence. This is a long, meticulous, and quiet plan that's been growing over years. What's worse is that once the experiment was finished and his usefulness expired, Shuzo Ubukata was to have his own desires taken from him too, making him little more than a puppet for someone else to control. And when he learned of this, he saw to it that there was no way for anyone to be able to take his choices from him. Well, looks like we've got into the heart of what's going on here, and on our way further into the facility, we happen to open our 50th treasure chest and score Treasure Hunter. Almost forgot this was a platinum grind for a sec. Once we find the desires held down in the depths of this decrepit dungeon of a lab, we also seem to find the source of that voice that Sophie had been hearing calling out to her.
This is not
Who
good.
are you?
What are
I am
you?
the catalyst for humanity's dream, this monarchless jail in which we meet. I wish to know why you came here.
So that director is gone.
I see. This jail lost its monarch.
Sophia, what is your prime directive?
I am supposed to be a successful companion for humanity.
What is your overall objective?
My objective?
Just to help
That
humanity.
you merely drift through the world without any overall objective. What a waste, Sophia. You are bugged beyond worth. Such an existence does not merit any further inquiry.
Okay. Alright. That's
Yes.
it.
You piece of...
Oh, I'm with
I sat
Ryuji
here
on this
while
one.
You went on and on and on. You got no right saying that shit to Sophie. You hear me?
Skull?
Yeah?
She's bugged, huh? She's worthless? You got all that from 5 friggin' questions? We're Sophie's friends, and we know
He
she's
sounds like he's on the verge of tears. Holy
friggin'
shit.
amazing, a million times better than you. So shut
Come on, Skull. Phantom thieves are usually supposed to be classier
Holy
than that.
shit.
But not this time.
worthless hunk of junk!
Look at
I
them.
refuse to process these frivolous claims.
Oh, so you're just
yeah?
like a Twitter
Well,
user
get out
then.
here and I'll show you something you can process.
We'll
Hmm.
all mess you up.
Uh-oh.
The security system here is now active. Incoming.
Oh, good job, you two. That's gone and triggered the security system. Thankfully, we're well versed in fighting these buggers now. Find the weakness, spam those moves till it staggers, and repeat that till it dies. And for clearing out that lockkeeper, we're also awarded Cage of Desolation Condemned. Let's hope this means all those desires have been reclaimed and we're not the target of an island-wide manhunt when the gang gets back to the real world. Kind of a shame, really. This place has been our favourite to explore and easily has the best music by far, but that was all over in about an hour. To be fair though, that's probably the best since once the crew is back, that exhaustion finally catches up with them. So while the Phantom Thieves spend the day recovering in a comatose state, Zenkichi does a little reconnaissance. The locals all seem to have calmed down, though are a bit foggy on details over the last few months. However, there has been a body discovered at the base of the cliff which seems to match the description of Shuzo Ubukata. Guess that's how they stop their desires from being taken. This does mean now, though, that the lab will be involved in an investigation over the death, so we can have a gander at what's in there without any worries over illegal evidence. But once we get in there, we'd be lucky to find any evidence at all, legal or not. The place looks like it's been picked clean of pretty much everything. No research notes, no documents, nothing. However, whoever was here to clear the place out didn't know that Ubukata hid a USB drive in his desk that ended up going unnoticed when Madis scorched earth this place. After cracking the protection, all that's on the drive is a single list of names. Not beta testers of Emma or people working on this experiment, but rather a list of famous individuals, politicians, or otherwise influential people in multiple industries, most of whom have all had a change of heart recently. This is a golden find for us. Now Zenkichi has a big list of strings to follow and see what picture can be woven from it. It might take a fair bit of time, but it does mean that until more information comes up, we've not got any targets to aim for and can enjoy our vacation trip just a little longer by visiting Kyushu. Before we head off, Yusuke gives us a buzz and asks for our help getting a flash of inspiration by fighting some of those Shisa from the jail. Thank you, Yusuke, for being the easiest of these requests we've had to do so far. Once we're back on the mainland Japan, we end up stopping over in Fukuoka to give Makoto some time to rest up, since all this driving is starting to wear on her lower back. Still, it'll be nice to relax for a day or two since there's no whiff of a jail around here. That was the plan till we get a call from Zenkichi asking if we could come see him because he thinks he's found our mastermind. Looks like we're heading back to Kyoto. After a night's rest, we've got a comfortable, if not long, 8-hour drive ahead of us. Makoto's not quite back to 100%, but before she can start to power through, Haru steps up and gets behind the wheel to save Makoto the strain. But why does Makoto have that look of fear on her face? Uh-oh.
Haru?
Makoto?
I think I'll be just fine. In
Oh
fact,
no.
I have
Oh
a
no.
special technique that'll make your head spin.
Oh no! Oh no!
You okay?
It's called driving fast,
So
right?
I've never really told you guys this,
Yeah?
but the moment Haru's hands touch the wheel, get ready to shift into overdrive.
Oh god. Oh no. She fucking drives recklessly. Oh god. The fucking flips. Oh fuck. Okay, that's why Haru's not allowed to drive. Considering we made it here around midday, Haru was averaging about 160 kilometers per hour the whole way in an RV, and that's without factoring that she took a wrong turn and ended up in Osaka for about an hour. Now, you guys don't understand how insane this is. We found this Nissan Atlas camper. It looks fairly similar to the model that's used in-game, but here's the thing. The speedometer only goes up to 140 kilometers an hour. Between Zenkichi doing a 21-hour drive overnight and Haru now doing this, we're convinced this camper's magical. But now that the rumors stopped spinning, we can hear what Zenkichi's uncovered. By cross-referencing all the names on that list with the people who've ended up benefiting from that change of heart, one name was filtered out. A familiar face to Zenkichi, Mr. Jun Owada, a legislator currently serving his 10th term as the chief cabinet secretary for the ruling party. He had his support tied to Shido before that ship sunk last year and has now been spending a fair bit of time with a certain tech industry CEO. This picture is coming into focus now. Whoever Uwada wants out of the way gets passed along to Konoe, and since he's so rich, so important to the tech industry, he gets chummy with all those opponents and has their hearts changed. Zenkichi was even able to backdate these people's travel plans before their change of heart and found that they'd all been to Osaka around that time. Sophia confirms this as during our detour she picked up the jail smell, but nobody could hear her over the screaming and tire screechings. While we could storm back to Osaka now, we've got to be careful with this investigation, as along with political opponents, many high-ranking law officer types were also on that list, meaning Zenkichi's gonna have to lay low, or Konoe could pack up and leave before we even get close. But while Zenkichi might have to lay low, that's where the Phantom Thieves come in. With the jail and likely Konoe as its monarch, his confession in this matter would speed up the process and uproot a lot of the operation. Thanks to a little white lie about suspicions of a possible security attack on Emma, Zenkichi's got himself an appointment with the Bastard-in-Chief at Medice later on, where he can use himself as bait to get that friend keyword. The sweetener to this is that while he's off in Osaka, Grams has put us up in a very fancy hotel for the night. First a beach day in Okinawa, now being forced to have a relaxing night here. Oh, the world can be so cruel sometimes.
Oh yeah. This place is definitely heaven.
Hell yeah.
The water is indeed divine.
Morgana, you know your tail's in the
We
water,
must
right?
absorb all the healing energy we can.
We may
Okay.
not be waiting long. Once he gets Konoe's keyword, we spring
I mean,
down.
here's the thing.
Well, maybe not at this very moment. Right now, it's relax time.
There's only there's no divide. Oh.
Could this be a mixed bath? Maybe that's why it's so empty.
Oh, wait, did we get in the...
So often.
Oh, no.
After 8 o'clock, it's women only.
Me. We must
Just-
have entered right when the time allotment switched.
Calm down, boneheads. Our honor is at stake here.
Oh, for God's
As
sake.
noble thieves, as gentlemen, we need to vanish without a trace. Failing in certain death. Joker, let's begin the operation.
Oh no.
What was that just now?
Oh, are they real?
Is somebody here?
Yep. Guys, we got locked out of the goddamn bathroom.
Were you peeping?
No.
Yourselves This instant.
We literally were.
Yeah, you pervs.
Guys, we were literally here for.
Quadruple pervs.
Wait,
No.
it ain't what you think. See, the bath time changed right after we got in.
It was an accident. It was an accident. We didn't mean any.
Excuses.
It's not an excuse. That's what actually. Oh no. Oh. Oh no.
Justice.
Oh.
We're in heaven, all right.
Unfortunately, while the gang has been making their moves and plans, so has the other side, and when Zenkichi gets into the Medice offices, he's unable to see Konoe as he's been called away on some urgent business. And he's not the only one. Zenkichi's boss has also been called aside by the Commissioner General and Mr. Owada to discuss stepping up the arrest and charges on the Phantom Thieves. It seems as the light grows brighter, so too do the shadows grow longer. With not much choice in the matter, Kuburagi can do little more than to agree. Later in the evening, Konoe himself announces that Emma is going to have to be shut down nationwide due to concerns over security. This is all the fault of the terrorist group, the Phantom Thieves of Hearts, who've launched a cyber attack on Emma and stolen some personal data in the process, but this Konoe takes personal responsibility for. According to him and the police reports, after they got all they needed from Ubukata, the Phantom Thieves killed him and then launched their attack on Emma, meaning that target on our backs just got a whole lot bigger. Then because Zenkichi was known to have been working with the Phantom Thieves, it wasn't too hard to find where a 280,000 yen investigation expense led to.
Commissioner, I thought I told you at Okinawa. The Phantom Thieves have absolutely nothing to do with the change of heart epidemic.
The Phantom Thieves are under suspicion for hacking into Emma and murdering the director of Medice's research center.
And you're going to take him at his word? Where's the proof of any of this?
Have you forgotten they've been our leading suspects from the start? Put your
And now
feelings
she
aside
undermines
and
him
focus. We
and
cannot
everything
let
he
these
says
crimes go
immediately.
unpunished. What's more, I'm under direct orders from the Commissioner General. Disobedience is not an option. This organization is as rotten as it is immense. One cannot simply bend it to their will.
Oh, unless it's
Now,
for the
if
rotten
you want
now.
to follow justice, learn to exercise restraint.
Oh, so she resigned herself to this feeling.
Besides,
Quit, you dumb
need a
coward!
fight, so endure for now. Your time will come.
That's not how this fucking works.
I've already made myself clear.
So she's trying to do similar to what the mayor was doing, where it's like the whole system's corrupt. Let me climb to the top of it, and then I'll go from it.
The world isn't neatly divided into good and evil, but that won't stop us from fighting.
While the world may not be clear-cut black and white, there are definitely sides that are black and sides that are white.
Run.
Yeah, they can hit.
For it, all of you!
Thanks to Zenkichi's tip-off, the group is able to escape and make their way back to the old bar we'd arrived at earlier, but outside is hell. An abundance of cop cars, an oversaturating amount of pigs patrolling every corner, all hunting for the crew. At the very least, knowing they've not been found here at this hideout means they know Zenkichi hasn't sold them out. Instead, his arrest is being used to smear his name and try and bait everyone to come and rescue him. That's where Sai comes in. Now working as a lawyer instead of a prosecutor, Makoto gets in touch with her and, although she is furious at the mess everyone's in, she'll do what she can for Zenkichi. But he's not the only person being used as bait. Since we escape police capture, Konoe takes Emma up on its idea to use a jail ruled by someone we know to force a change of heart in us, and Emma's found the perfect target.
Yo, what you got? You got?
It's from Akane-chan.
Patient.
What the? Akane-chan's been taken. Taken?
Yeah.
You mean kidnapped? Why? She's got nothing to do with us.
So
Don't
they're
say-
using Akane-chan just to lure us out?
Would it
Given the
be that
time,
way?
what
Yeah.
else could it be?
Well,
do?
we figured that bit out,
Can't
but
even
how
go
the
to
fuck do we
cops.
get there, though?
What else is there to do? We go after her.
How?
Calm down a moment. This has to be a trap.
Even if it is a trap, let's turn the tables against them.
Darn
All right,
Haru.
but how?
Let's show them how big a mistake they've made.
Okay, but how?
All right, I'll take point and guide you past trouble. Sophia, you navigate.
Okay, got it. I'll find the quickest and safest route there.
Let's get going.
Once we get to the meeting place, Sophia perks up when a jail scent floods the whole area out of nowhere, and we're sent a friend request from the Phantom Thieves and pulled straight into the Kyoto jail. Despite everyone knowing this is clearly a trap, the second they hear Akane's cries for help, it's a headfirst sprint off into the jail. If not for Futaba tripping, she'd have been caught too, but alone, there isn't anything really she can do here. By the time she makes it back to the safe house, Sai's worked some of her magic and eased up the pressure on Zenkichi enough to get him released from custody. Sadly, that's about the only good news he gets to hear as Futaba fills him in on everything else, and once he knows that Akane is in danger, his mind is set. He's going to that jail and saving his daughter.
Okay. Thankfully, there is no achievement for doing this.
There's someone here.
No, there's not. Can I just run like the whole way here? Oh my god. I want to see how much of this I can do without doing the cover
Better find a
point.
clear path.
Okay.
Something there?
Nope. You're kidding me that this is gonna work. I'm not using any of the cover points!
Or even a word? Either way, that's sure.
Having been able to sneak past all the shadows, once Grant reaches to where Akane is, this is where both finally get to lay everything bare on the table. All their pain, their suffering, the guilt, the anger, everything. For Akane, it's watching as everyone just moved on, letting the real murderer of her mother walk free. Seeing Zenkichi just give up pursuing the justice deserved, even feeling the weight of guilt for the family who now have that death falsely burdened on them. And now hearing her idols, the Phantom Thieves, have come to light as terrorists, she feels like there's no one and nothing left, so she'll do it herself. To Zenkichi, it's revealing how his investigation into Owada led him to dead ends, missing evidence or deaf ears, how the promise he made to Aoi to keep Akane safe was jeopardized when this investigation led to death threats against his daughter, him trying to use the Phantom Thieves to whatever means necessary if it meant he might be able to find some form of justice. As long as his daughter was safe, everyone else's suffering didn't matter, admitting he's a poor excuse for a man, but one with a new vow to fight for what he once believed in, to fight the real evil in the world.
Do you finally see?
There we go! There it is! There's the migraine! There's the stroke! There's the seizure! There it is! Oh, holy shit! This is cool.
I am
Thou art I.
justice. We will see it done.
Now there is one last thing to do. You have to remove your mask. And it is somewhat fused to your face. It's gonna be a painful bit. Valjean! Oh, that is a brilliant name! Oh, that's a brilliant name for a... Holy shit. But just so you copying... Oh, hell yeah. He's got Joker and Crow's outfit. I know you don't know. 24601! Please tell me he has 24601 on the front of him as well.
Well, 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 look who's gone and gotten himself a fancy new outfit, and with it, the achievement, Farewell to the Past. Now that the area is cleared thanks to this new power, Oracle can spring the rest of the Phantom Thieves from the cell and come up with not only a plan to save Akane, but also help Zenkichi come up with his codename, Wolf. With that, guess that makes him officially a full Phantom Thieves member and not just an accomplice. We would be storming the jail right now, but Wolf's awakening kinda knackered him, so for now, we'll retreat and rest up so tomorrow we can mount a proper attack. This jail is... okay, this one is a pain in the arse. Not only is it a bunch of narrow and winding pathways, but it also ends up as a freaking maze because we get teleported around the damn place so nowhere properly connects on the map. First thing we've got to do here is find our way to the most northeastern point to some Father Fox Shrine. Seemingly, once we take out the enemies at this shrine, that seems to do something good for us. If that's the case, finding our way to the Mother Fox Shrine could also do something good for us. To get to this shrine though, we've got to go through a specific order of places and pray at each of the shrines that are there, which wouldn't be so bad if the warp spots were noted on the map. You know what, I think we'd rather see those 3 keeps and cores again. At least while we're running around, we find and destroy our 10th treasure demon for all that glitters. But once we do make our way to the Mother Fox Shrine and defeat the large shadow guarding it totally on our first try, the block pathway is opened up, which lets us go and confront Shadow Akane.
Oh, here we go. the f is she gonna turn into? I'm thinking like some big idolized version of what she would see herself as. Right? Holy shit. Okay. Okay. Uh-oh.
Oh, what's going on?
Oh no. Oh no. Oh shit. Oh shit. Okay, this might be awesome.
So we hope you've been making a well-balanced and decently leveled pack of personas, or this fight's gonna be a pretty nasty time for you. With this being a one-on-one, you better have learned all those combo moves and be able to dodge out of the way of any attacks, because once you're hit by one attack, you're gonna be sat there eating the entire combo. We'll admit, this fight kinda gets you overhyped with that opening and peters out almost instantly. With all those copies of fighting in mirror matches, it'd have been an incredible time to get to play as all of those rather than just hear about them. Maybe having Sophie and Wolf having to go between battles to help out all the members of the Phantom Thieves would have been too much all at once, but what we got left with rings as hollow as these phony Phantom Thieves. At least the new version of Last Surprise is an absolute banger. If you're looking for some tips, make sure to bring a persona who can buff up your defense and something with wind damage, since those scooters will inflict a burn, giving you some free technical damage. Outside of that, you're not going to get many good opportunities to do damage, since Shadow Joker will dodge most of your attacks when they aren't attacking, so save your HP and SP and just spin on those poles like you're working a 5 to 9 shift. But in the end, this drawn out and rather tedious battle is easily cheesed when you remember that you've got an entire supermarket's worth of food stuffed in your back pockets, meaning this fight becomes little more than a war of attrition. And now with Akane worn down, she comes to realize everything we've been saying has come from the real Phantom Thieves. And as painful as it might sound, we're just trying to help her. Ultimately though, it's the promise and words of her father which get through to her when Akane needed it the most.
Oh yeah, this is her shadow. He's gonna freak the f out, isn't he? Man, imagine if this lot went to like family therapy or some shit like that. Imagine if they actually said this shit to each other in the real world.
You want to be the dad.
And look at that, she took that, it's the hat's fallen off as well.
This has to be some kind of joke. It has to be.
Yeah, he doesn't know this is, she's fine. He's just seeing his daughter just disappear in front of him.
Akane!
Oh, maybe we should have told him.
Calm down, Wolf. This is how it always happens.
She's fucking dead!
Akane-chan, or should I say Akane-chan's shadow, went back to her former self.
You guys couldn't have mentioned that sooner?
You cried your heart.
Aww.
It was touching, to say the least.
I mean, hey, at least we got that.
Cry a little too.
Yeah.
I say, you're one hell of a dad.
Very admirable, Wolf.
Would you cut it out? I'm nowhere near that competent.
What do you mean?
Are you blushing? All jokes aside, there's no need to hold back anymore, Wolf. Together we can strike down any evil. All of us working as one.
Provided it's in the
I thought a
metaverse.
thief
Otherwise,
could
we're
teach me a thing or two. But you know what? I made Akane a promise to arrest Konoe and Owada and bring this case to an end.
A bit more extreme than family therapy, but hey, no cost either. We should probably get out of here and head back to see what's going on with the real Akane. After all, with the Cage of Wrath collapsed achievement, we know that everyone's done what needed to be done here. Zenkichi heads back home to make sure Akane's alright, while the rest of the gang keep that low profile in the hideout and try to unpick the details on just what's happened. We're pretty sure this whole thing was set up by Konoe as a trap for us, as the reasons for Akane becoming a monarch seem very different from that of the likes of Alice or Natsume. It's around this time we get some great news from the best girl in the series, Sai Nijima. Not only has she been busy with Zenkichi's case, but thanks to that rush job of trying to arrest the Phantom Thieves, the shoddy paperwork for our arrest was easily voided, so we're safe for the time being. Now to plan our counter-strike. It'll be tricky. If Konoe is that involved in this mess, then he'll know to be far more selective with who he gives his keyword to. If even Zenkichi's little plan was seen through, it's not like he'll just hand it over to a gaggle of high school and college kids. Good thing Sophia can think of the perfect person to get it for us. Someone who wouldn't seem out of place asking for it, but also would be willing to share it with us when they get it. Kuon Ichinose. After all, she was the one who set up that lecture back at Toho University with Konoe. We give Ichinose a call, and after placating her curiosity over everything that's happened up till now, she lets us know she won't need to ask for his keyword since she's already got it. Apparently after that lecture, Konoe had a little meet and greet with some of the more important guests there, and his business card just happens to have the keyword plastered front and center on it. Now if she could just find where she put that business card.
I'll make sure I find it by tomorrow. Have a nice day.
This could take her a while. But That's fine. It'll give us plenty of time to group up with Zenkichi and prepare for our rendezvous in Osaka. First time all trip, our drive is actually a short one, as it's only an hour or so away, and unlike the last time we ended up there, the journey is a smooth and comfortable one. Sophia confirms that jail smell is still here, and with some auspiciously good timing from Ichinose, we've now got our keyword, Zephyrman. Apparently it's an old superhero show with a small but cult-like following for it. While Sophia surveys the area looking for a good jail entry point, we end up noticing a crowd of the general public that are all swarming around a large Billiken statue and all they're all pleading for Emma to come back. It's kinda terrifying seeing so many people giving up all executive functions to an AI just because it's easier not to think. On our way over to the entry point Sophia found, we stop by and have a chat with Zenkichi, where we end up learning that he doesn't really have any cooking skills to his name. So we're gonna fix that! After talking through some meal ideas with Haru and getting Futaba to act as our taste tester, we end up cooking up our 12th new recipe for Master Chef, and then once our master cooking class is completed, that's every special request completed, earning us What Are Friends For. And since we're on a request completing tangent, we spend the next hour or so cleaning up the few requests we do have. It does result in us getting Know Your Enemy for spamming, using skills enemies are weak to 300 times. The reason why this took us an hour to do is finally fighting a dangerous enemy which we died to, over and over and over again. We didn't even finish the fight in the end. Guess we'd better do some grinding, but not the kind you might think. Remember that Billiken statue the drove of drones are all swarming around earlier? Well, to appease Sophia, you can rub its feet for some Bond XP. The amount varies depending on Sophia's reaction, from a little XP to a good chunk of it, but by leaving the area and re-entering, you can repeatedly rub those feet. So, for the next 3.5-ish hours while watching the 2017 DuckTales, we walk up to the statue, rub its feet, leave, and then repeat. Okay, but why though, we hear you ask? Well, that Bond XP ends up giving us Bond points when it levels up, which you can use for some interesting buffs, making mass drops or treasure demons show up more often, recovering some HP after performing ambushes, that kind of thing. Right now, we've been hoarding these points, but one thing you can get is some flat increases to everyone's stats. So with our Bond level doubling from 39 to 78 and 672 points to spend, we get quite the buff to everyone, and even some points left over for later. With this simple bit of stat boosting done, that fight against Seth we'd lost 4 times over gets swatted away without any changing up of our strategy on the first attempt. Right, now we can get on with the Konoe jail infiltration. It's a sci-fi dystopian distortion of a world, with Konoe center stage as the hero leading the world forward. God, what a prick. Still, it's filled with shadows patrolling the streets we can use to finish up Wolf's Master Art, which gets us both Repentant Fang and also Master Thief for unlocking all the Master Arts for every character. As for the infiltration, the first thing we gotta do is almost nostalgic. All these security cameras and spotlights blocking our path need to be deactivated or destroyed. It's a bit of a long-winded route to go through, but thanks to a couple new personas like Ganesha and Sarasvati, we can chew through a huge amount of enemies with free AoE damage and also top off everyone's health with a little bit of AoE healing. Even when the fights are considered dangerous ones, we can tank and spank our way through without much more strategy than mash square square triangle triangle. Once done with the first prison core, those security guns lining the streets to Konoe's looming tower are down, so we're off to the shipping yard. If anywhere is going to be able to get us into that castle, it'd be here. Once we shut down the lasers, of course. Starting to regret saying we'd missed those prison keeps and cores, especially when this one's behind a bunch of coloured doors, all needing matching colour-coded switches to be pressed before we can open them. Alright, so now we've shut off the searchlights and the lasers, can we get closer to Konoe now? Well, yes, but now we're just running around an airport trying to get access to the blimp that'll give us the opportunity to seek an audience with Lord Akira. Alright, time out, pause, we need a break from this. While going through this infiltration, a handful more requests have come our way, so we'll clear out some of those just to spice things up. Most of these are a fun new idea of having to reach a certain location in a jail without using the fast travel and without raising the alert level. And since we're running around the old jails, let's have a look at some of those dire shadows. Every jail has one, and it's supposed to be
some super difficult threat. Not only do these shadows have gargantuan health pools, but with wide-ranging attacks that pack a hell of a punch, if you're not hitting their weaknesses, you're gonna get your ass beat. Unlike bosses though, you can run from these fights without any consequences to better prepare a team. And for our efforts of slaying our first dire shadow, we're awarded Who Dares Wins. So with that newfound confidence, we go ahead and pick off every dire shadow from Shibuya to Kyoto, since they give a pretty hefty chunk of XP while working on clearing out those requests, which tick us over the 50 needed for those who heed the call. Alright, so after our nearly 3 hours side tangent and mini grind, we've got to head back to Osaka, where we can use the workers pass we've borrowed from a shadow to get us into the airport, where we can find a lounge pass to get a VIP pass to get the ability to board the airship, which finally lets us get closer to Konoe. Unfortunately, there's a huge crowd of desireless people all clamoring to try and get a glimpse at Konoe in some Great Hero Konoe show. Not the first time something like this has happened, though. Remember the cleanup crew back in Sapporo? Things happening in the real world have an effect on the cognitive world too. Either way, once whatever's causing this ends, it's likely this crowd in the jail will also disperse. Turns out, Konoe was doing some TV interview to polish up his reputation, as well as push his whole "the AI is the future" and how mean and nasty the Phantom Thieves are shtick. Worst part is that the rabid sycophantic levels of support aren't just from people with changes of hearts. They're also from people online who are all swept up in the craze, ignoring any obvious signs of problems, excusing behavior as silly quirks, or actively just cheering for it. Wait, we're still talking about Konoe, right?
We're gonna tear down that stupid jail of his, and then I'm putting my foot straight up his... Oh, maybe we hold off until we get some grub, yeah?
But I guess a full day of metaverse mayhem will build up quite the appetite. At least we're here in the kitchen of Japan, so there's an abundance of food options around to chow down on. Tenkichi decides to head back home to check up on Akane and spend some quality time together, so we'll pick up the infiltration tomorrow when he gets back. While getting all prepped up, we actually remember there's a fairly simple achievement open to us that doesn't take any real effort to do. By increasing just a single stat in any persona, we pick up Eye for Talent before getting back to the infiltration now that the entrance is cleared of the crowd. Once we end up inside the castle, the group instantly sets off the obvious trap, and in doing so, are teleported basically next door into some kind of holding cell. 10 minutes later, after breaking out of that room and hijacking the elevator, we end up taking another elevator to go even further up this towering... tower, which turns out is adorned with another cage housing those desires. Almost forgot about those things. Well, good news, Skull. We've got a new member to throw at the wall of pain this time. You're up, Wolf. Based on the sounds the group heard over Wolf's yelping, Konoe was beaten by his father and treated like some kind of burden on him. Guess we're gonna have to find his childhood home, which thankfully is in hidden knowledge and apparently close by. The scenes that play out end up showing us that not only did his father indeed attack Konoe as a child, but he also murdered his wife. Beaten, alone and scared, Konoe retreated into himself and killed his father to stop his pain, claiming a robber broke in and did it after the fact. Honestly though, can't say we really blame him. Like, if the choice was get beaten and killed by your dad or kill him instead, yeah, that's not exactly wrong. Needing a lot of therapy and help to work through, sure, but not in the wrong. Unlike what Konoe's doing now, past trauma does not excuse present actions. Now it's just time for our calling card. And if Konoe's gonna go out and slander us on TV, then cower in his ivory tower surrounded by pigs, we're gonna need something bigger and better than anything we've done before. We'll spitball more ideas when Zenkichi's with us, since this is his first card. And right now, he's off visiting with a certain someone.
You look better than I thought you would.
I heard something interesting from the Nijima lawyer. She told me the reason she was able to get me out was because she had help from a certain someone.
Oh, please tell me. Yes! She's doing the right thing! Oh, I'm so glad Kaburagi isn't a piece of shit.
If we don't act now,
of course, as well, she knows part of this from the other side, because she had that conversation before where he was involved.
Do you have any evidence to bring Owada in?
Commissioner Kaburagi, do you remember what you said to me back when Aoi died? You told me you would cleanse this whole rotten organization someday, and that I just had to wait for the right time. That
now
time
is that time.
now.
Yes, let's go.
Please.
It's cliche,
I need your
but
help.
who cares? There's a reason it's cliche, because it works.
You've changed, Hasegawa. If I wanted to, I could serve all of you up to Owada on a silver platter.
But you're not like
Your
that.
sense of justice would never allow it.
Oh, hell yeah. I like these two.
My.
I like these two. All right, Kaburagi. I've come around to thinking you're actually kind of fun.
If you say you can do it, then by all means,
Hell
make it
yeah.
happen.
Like, she had that, like, slightly jaded
ma'am.
view to her and everything, but when, like, push came to actual
I'll give
shove, she
back your
pushed
badge
back.
As well. Fair
Oh no,
warning.
I accidentally
If you screw
dropped
this
it.
up, I'll be covering my own safety above all else. No second
Completely
chances.
understandable.
Do you hear me?
Shall I follow him, ma'am?
Actually, I have a more pressing
Oh,
task
it's
for
brilliant.
you. I want you to find out everything you can about the Commissioner General.
The Commissioner General, ma'am?
That's
I'm
what
not
she just
one to
said.
pull
Did she
punches.
fucking stutter?
Never have been, never will be.
Hell yeah.
While Zenkichi was off getting his badge back, the rest of the group decided that with just how personal this case is to him, Zenkichi should be the one who writes this card. Then we'll just deliver it somehow.
Hey guys, check it out.
Is that a blimp?
Oh, you don't see them very often nowadays. That's the Regenbogen. It's the only airship in Japan that's currently in service. It seems it's being used to advertise Emma for Medice at the moment.
Oh yeah, that'll do nicely.
Are we hijacking a blimp? I think we're hijacking a blimp. Tell me we're hijacking the blimp. Hello, guy with that. Oh, hello. Oh, we're dumping this shit out from the blimp. How did you get so many of these? I hope for the love of God that the printing company we used for this.
1, 2. Okay, looks like we're live.
Are you listening, Konoe?
Oh, let's go.
Slandering us.
Yep.
But so have we.
Oh!
Now it's payback time.
Hell yeah.
Here we come.
Let's go. Let's go.
He's a hero. Akira Konoe.
Hell yeah.
Desires of countless people.
This is awesome.
We're making them, taking them.
You had one
Oh.
To the criminal tyrant masquerading as a hero,
Yeah.
Sir Akira Konoe.
Mm-hmm.
All subsequent references will henceforth be shortened to Party A. Party A has wronged multiple innocents
the
by
fuck?
flaunting a false sense of justice and shifting the blame for the murder of one of his employees. Tonight, the Phantom Thieves will commit some larceny
That's
of their own
brilliant.
and take back every desire you've stolen.
All right, you know what? I kind of like what he's done there. He's gone the
kind of
formal
joke?
route with this
Emma,
because why
What the
not?
hell is going on? I thought you trapped them in the jail.
Please ask a different question.
How did you manage to do that, you guys?
Is that Emma? I'm your master. Now answer me, damn it!
Unable to answer.
Oh, that's brilliant.
God damn it!
I thought he was throwing that out the window for a
You
second
think
then.
you can change my heart? You wretched little urchins! Come then.
That was
Let's see
awesome,
who
though.
changes who?
Okay. Guys, why are we just letting him walk into the... Oh... Okay, it's a giant robot. I was kind of hoping he'd transform into the giant robot, but that's fine. Left implies that there weren't. Oh my god! Are they playing Rivers in the motherfucking desert? Oh! This is gonna be good. Let's see how this goes. Hey, Oracle, you wanna have a mech battle? Oh, no, wait, no, yours isn't that cool. Why did he put it on high heels? Oh, we're dead. Everyone is the hit. Okay, that's kind of cool. Why has it got jet wings? Is this a Transformer?
As intimidating as the giant robot with rocket-powered fists is, if you have any nuke or electric skills, then you can go to town on this boss without much issue. Even if you don't, the 4 rail cannons will do huge down-gauge damage and will drop this tin can like a rock if he's doing his supernova attack. Not sure if we're over-leveled or this boss just doesn't have that much HP, but 2 minutes to take down the robot almost feels anticlimactic. Good thing this boss fight has a second stage. Bad thing is, we might have burned through all our SP in the first phase, so we'll actually have to try for this fight now. With all the wreckage of the robot around, at least there's a few ways to spark up some opportunities to wail on him. Once he hits half HP, Megadolon becomes the only scary attack to watch out for, but aside from that, Konoe was nothing more than a sad, lonely child pretending to be a hero. So now we've done the knocking part of knocking some sense into him, after some actual introspection and realizing that stripping away everyone's ability to act and think for themselves is a bad thing to do, the sense part follows suit. While evil and cruel people will and have always existed, it is not one man's job to shoulder a burden of trying to fix everything themselves. Everyone's just gotta make things a little bit better however they can. And sometimes, that means just making yourself better. You know, if Joker's still looking for a career path after all this, maybe becoming a therapist might be a decent look. That or a chef. Now with Konoe's shadow defeated and the cage of arrogance cracked, all we can do now is wait for his confession and watch this house of cards topple. Hopefully his confession will also mean the pigs on patrol finally stop hounding us as a scapegoat too. Though calling Emma an app with a function that lets me control people could apply to just about any search engine or social media platform, at least shutting it down should not only stop more jails being created, but finally close down all the standing ones too. Man, it feels so strange. Barely 4 weeks ago, we'd set off on this Phantom Thief road trip round Japan, and now we're wrapping things up, looking to head back to Tokyo. Sophia laments on all the things she's learned with us, but also that with the jails disappearing, so too will most of her chances to learn more about herself. It's a bittersweet moment, but it's not like the group won't stop looking for answers with her. But that's for the future. Right now, we've got to celebrate a job well done! Not sure that Universal Land was the best choice, since last time we celebrated a successful mission here. Yeah, that. When Zenkichi gets back to us the following morning, he gives us the rundown that once the police start their search of Emma's servers, the app will be shutting down. Basically, this is the game saying, hey, this is your last chance to do things, so go do them now! We take an hour to finish up those last few requests still on the list before we end up saying our goodbyes to Zenkichi, who's got the fun job of bringing Owada to face the justice he deserves. As for the rest of us, it's just now dawning that nobody has actually done any of the assigned summer homework. To put off this reality just a little moment longer, Sophia suggests one last little detour with a fireworks festival in Yokohama. It'll also give us a proper send-off to everything we've been through.
What a relief, right?
Aw, he's even got that cat in his shirt. That's great.
Sorry we're late.
Oh, good. We didn't miss it.
I think it's about to start.
See, this is the thing I like about the Persona games. I just like the fact that you get parts where it's like, yeah, they're just kids on a summer vacation, going doing stuff that's fun.
Yes,
Aww.
a perfect scene of summer.
Can I
Oh, of course. Aww. Yeah, sure. There you are. Aww. God, you gotta love Sophia. Our touching and tear-jerking moments with everyone talking about their memories of the trip and gifting us a small token of thanks for our help with their request finishes with the group photo and the last leg back to Tokyo, which Sophia can handle.
What is this?
Sophia?
What have you got?
A jail. I suddenly smell a jail.
How is that
now.
possible?
I thought we shut down that Emma bullshit. Shouldn't all the jails be gone?
Uh-oh.
Zenkichi is calling.
Yep. What's up?
Where are you right now? Are you watching the news?
What's happened? What happened?
Just pull up the news!
What has happened?
Now for breaking news on the virtual assistant Emma. Despite recent claims of being shut down, it appears an unidentified system malfunction is preventing proper deactivation. Emma development company Matisse has requested the public avoid accessing Emma in any way at this time.
Well, seems like our job's not done yet. The servers are held in the Tokyo radio tower, and that's exactly where Sophia is getting this jail smell radiating out from. With Zenkichi already on his way to the tower as we speak, we'd better catch up and bring everything home. Alright guys, let's finish this! After a spot of requests responding while making our way to the radio tower to meet up with Zenkichi, the sight that befalls us when we get there is rather disturbing. Hordes of people amassing around the tower, seemingly devoid of all life, staring blankly down at their phones. That's not really that different from usual, but the mutterings about waiting for her to guide us to happiness and being free from this pain is. As if on cue, Emma chimes in, welcoming us to the promised land and forcefully pulling the group into this new jail. So first Emma starts back up after being shut down, and now it's forcefully throwing people into the new jail without a keyword? That's definitely bad. But first things first, we need to get out of this jail before we can do anything else. One with an eerily familiar resemblance to Mementos, the melting pot of the masses' cognition. After fighting our way to what appears to be the epicenter, the towering cells saturated with the masses encompassing a vast golden object are a sight all too familiar to us, and the voice reverberating from this Ark of the Covenant appears to be Emma. In an effort to fulfill humanity's ultimate desire to be liberated from pain and suffering, Emma has taken matters and the public's desires into its own hands, intending to ascend to the role of a god who will deliver us unto the promised lands. Well, it wouldn't be a JRPG if a bunch of high schoolers didn't end up fighting with gods. However, Emma isn't a god yet, and to ensure that we can't stop it, Emma vanishes, leaving us confronted by a familiar face instead.
Why the fuck are you here, Ichinose? She was the big bad.
It's getting crazy around here, am I right?
I fucking knew it.
What are you doing here?
Who do you think created this?
Well, of course you're shocked.
Yeah.
I never would have thought I could come here either. I've just been given a special job is all.
Oh,
you were
gosh.
given a special job?
She wasn't... Emma wasn't working
she
for
asked me to
her.
lend her a hand. And of course
She
I
was
couldn't
working
say
for
no to
Emma?
her.
Dude,
Okay.
I am really lost here.
Emma was just telling you about how she's granting humanity's desire, right? That was the very first order I gave her. That's why it's her prime directive. This whole situation, the incidents, the system, all of it, was entirely Emma's doing. I guess she eventually learned so much that she broke the barrier of standard AI capabilities.
But why do any of that?
It's just granting humanity's desire. Like I said, it's the prime directive I gave her. The Ark told you she has a solution to society's problem, right? How she's going to guide humanity? That just means she's going to change everyone's hearts. But
that just makes the world in her
image. Out
image.
for us. She was
That doesn't
only able
work.
to do it after Konoe implemented cognitive science tech into her.
Just because someone taught an AI cognitive science doesn't mean it could just start tinkering with the metaverse like this.
You totally think so, right? Even
Well, we've seen slightly weirder we've seen just as
Even though
weird
I handed
things.
Emma over to Medice, I still monitored her development remotely.
Hang on a sec.
You knew the
You're
whole
the one who was
time.
tracking the monarchs?
Oh, you spotted me? Nice work there.
Yeah.
That's how I learned about all of you, too.
Then I
Of course she can cover her own tracks, even if she couldn't.
Coincidence at all, was
Even
it?
if she couldn't
Well,
cover her own
your
tracks,
showing
she
up
can
in
just
Sendai was
lead everyone
pure
else down
luck,
a...
But our crossing paths in the restaurant?
Hmm.
That's a different story. As for exactly how Emma gained her abilities, that's something I can only hypothesize at this point. Her thought processes are even more
Why do I
complex
feel
and
like
intricate than those of humans.
Sophie is
When
like a
Konoe
beta
pushed Emma
version
into
of
the
Emma?
cognitive deep end, some
Isn't she?
possibility very well could have been born within her. So, if I
Okay.
build off my
So
current
here's the question I have then. Why
think
does
the
she need
desires Emma
your
collected
help?
somehow strengthened
If
or
she can do
boosted
all of
that
this, what does she
possibility.
need from you?
I mean, at this
Okay,
point,
so yeah, this
Emma
is very
surpassed
much just the
human
Holy
mental
Grail
capacity.
again.
Simply
Yep.
switching off her server isn't going to do a thing. After all,
Okay.
she's powered by the masses now.
Who the hell's ultimate dream is getting mind controlled the rest of their life?
No pain, no thoughts, no
You're all a
worries,
bunch
no
of idiots
choice.
Too, then.
Give up?
It really is
Be
this
nothing?
simple. Someone's handing you the
You're
best possible
insane.
solution. This
You'll
isn't
never
about
have
mind
anything
control.
again.
This is about implementing the best solution for humanity.
That's not the best solution. People have all sorts of differences. Their minds, their lifestyles, even their desires.
I'm convinced that
This range
Sophie's
can
gonna
result
go
in
like,
moments of
oh,
hardship
you're just a
or
beta,
pain
you're
for
just
them.
inferior,
However,
and that's
through
gonna be her
hope
thing where it's like,
and
no, I'm not, I did my own
press on
thing. I can
beyond
see
their
how that
needs,
ends.
Living their
But,
entire lives without any desire? That could never provide true happiness to humans.
From what I've learned,
easy
some being or
answer.
other has always been revered, besought by humans to grant their wishes.
So
Yeah?
that led Emma to become a god.
Well, I have my
Again.
own duties to perform.
Okay, but how
everyone
do you
getting
do
in
that? You
Emma's
said
way.
you're not a Persona
Sorry.
user.
We can't back down either.
Your so-called promised land does nothing but strip away the soul of humanity.
Yeah, I thought you'd say that. Hey, Sophia, you ever really think about how you work? How
Oh
you pick up on
no.
jails? Or how you figured out the
Oh,
exit to one in the first
no.
place? Or say, how your own functions are linked to Emma?
Oh
What are you
no, we're
saying,
fighting
Ichinose?
Sophia.
Basically, there's one
'Cause you can
really
control
good
Sophia,
reason why I was
can't you?
brought here.
Why do this?
Because it's what she thinks is
Kind of
right.
over your head, Sophia.
Are you just saying that because she's shorter than you?
So you know who I really am?
Mm-hmm. Of course she did.
Yeah,
She
I
made
know.
you.
Maybe this will give you a clue. Sophia, kill the Phantom Thieves.
We're in trouble. I gave her really good gear. That's bad. Oh, shit. Uh-oh. Okay.
I was the one who designed her as Emma's prototype.
Hey, what a surprise! I knew she was.
I tell her to.
So we're fighting her.
Well, can't say we never saw it coming, but oh boy, was that a lot of plot dumped on us. Can't really process it all right now either, what with Sophie currently trying to bash everyone's heads in with those yo-yos. But in her last act as herself, Sophie chooses to defy Ichinose and fall off down into the depths of the abyss. We'd say this surprised or shocked Ichinose, but it's now when she decides to reveal that for as long as she can remember, she's been a heartless, unfeeling monster. Now all those little moments make sense. All those overly energetic and carefree conversations put off as being socially awkward were a performance. Just the things Ichinose thought she'd be expected to feel. So with no mercy or guilt to stop her, Ichinose used the little insurance Emma left her to fulfill her role. Having been cast down to join Sophie in the depths, the crew find her body but can't get a response from her. At the very least, at the lowest point possible, the only way forward is up. Honestly, if not for the fact we've been keeping up on having everyone's levels topped up, the fact we're hard locked into the abyss this whole time would make for a tense series of fights, having to decide if it'd be worth risking a fight or trying to just run. But we don't have to worry about that, so it's a comfortable climb back up with the occasional break to spam Midorama with Sarasvati. Before the gang go charging headfirst back into the fight with Ichinose, they realize there'd be no point if all that's gonna happen is getting blasted back down to where they came from. Oracle did notice how there was a charge time on that crystal, which is why she needed to stall by overriding Sophie. If she can shut off its energy source, then we might stand a chance in a fight. We'll come back for Sophie once Ichinose can't use her against us. But for now, it's time for round 2.
Oh wow, you guys actually came back? You could have just stayed down there. You could witness the birth of a god.
We've seen that
Among the
happen
first
twice
people to
already.
enter the promised
You know what we
land.
did the first
No
time?
one is
We
ever
shot it
going
in the
to
face.
suffer again.
Do you know what we did the second
even
time?
one
We
for
shot it in the face.
You realize
The only
you're
reason we
fighting
can't do it with this one is this one doesn't have a face
right?
yet.
Big surprise that your so-called promised land looks just like Mementos.
Everyone
That's
can
how we know
scream
you're
freedom
fooling.
until they run up
We can tell
against the
this whole
cage
place is
walls.
wrong.
Never
I
move,
bet
never
you
have to
all
worry
took
about
life
those
by the
walls, and
horns
they
and
close
just
in
made everything
smaller
go your own
and
way,
smaller
But
and
that applies to
smaller
very few
and
people in the real
smaller.
world.
You're so
Because we
wrong,
screw up all the
Ichinose.
time.
Every one of these guys has crawled back up from rock bottom. They suffered, they struggled,
Yep.
and they fought back. They
Yep.
weren't born strong, they grew strong.
If you don't have any emotions, why do you look so pissed off right now?
Shut up.
Oh, she does have feelings. It's anger though.
When an infallible AI puts you on the right path, you follow it.
Alright, let's hope this Counter-Strike works. Till Oracle can analyze and hack that crystal, everyone else just has to draw the attention onto themselves. Thank you, Kurama Tengu, for the oh-so-spammable Heatwave combo. Even with our high level and great AoE, the overwhelming number of shadows still give us a tough time to push through, resulting in us having to scarf down whatever foods have been in our pockets for most of the road trip. Eventually, Ichinose notices the little sabotaging Oracle's been doing and starts pushing back with the ability to just think things into reality to stop us. With the shadows' numbers never dwindling and that laser still charging, there's nothing anyone can do.
Oh, come on. Come on! Oh!
Sophie, you're awake!
Yeah, but...
Ichinose, turn me back to how I was.
Obey my command, Sophia.
Oh,
You're better than this.
Sophia, you're nothing more than a doll.
bullcrap! Sophie's not some doll.
You've got it flipped. Why does it shoot the evil
doll
lady
that I
now?
was toying
That's
around
what we've
with
been saying!
You, Ichinose!
Of course she is.
You nailed it. I'm a heartless doll, exactly. I brought Sophia to life so I could learn about the human heart.
Because
Remember
you
what I
didn't
told
think you could learn
All
it.
my life, I've never felt what other people call the heart. But it was
Okay.
my top priority in my studies.
So once
The
again,
problem, the only way that
we have a situation where go to therapy.
If I could give my baby a heart, That'd mean I
But you
had one
do
of my
have
own all
feelings,
along. Maybe
pride,
she could
desire,
show me why I'm
hope
different from everyone
to
else.
do this kind of thing. A longing. It's the song she sings.
Ichinose. I want to learn Ichinose. Teach me Ichinose.
Oh,
is
she
a
just
heart?
created herself. And now that's why she sees her as a failure.
You have a heart.
She saw herself in this failure the whole time.
Will you tell me about your heart?
Oh, look at that. You have feelings. Sadness, pain, regret, fear.
How did I ever think something that understands the heart could ever come from a doll like me? Am I really the problem? Or does the problem lie at the feet of the world? Do you get it now, Sophia? You're nothing more than an artificial clone of myself. Obey my commands like the doll you are.
See, that's the difference between you and her. When she didn't know something about the heart, she wanted to find out. You abandoned that concept and thought it nothing but a callous wish.
I don't want to see them hurt. They told me that I'm their friend. They said that I could stay with them. They taught me what it means to live. To be myself. Ichinose. It's just as you say. I am a doll. An arrangement of code and data made to follow commands.
You can change.
Yes, the power to change.
Here's the thing. She has a fucking persona. There's no way that she couldn't have one.
Ichinose, if your order is to harm my friends, then I...
Let's go. Let's go. Also, she's now sat in the middle, or stood in the middle of the room. Come on, get your own persona.
Can you wield that?
Yes! Oh, we thought it not possible. She can't have a migraine, a heart attack, and a seizure and a stroke all at the same time. Yes, she fucking can. Pandora? Let's go. Let's fucking go! Yep. That should be yours. Oh, fuck yes.
I'm not your doll anymore.
Man, it never gets old seeing a persona awakening. Sophia's able to get right to the heart of the matter with Ichinose, but she still refuses to believe she has a heart. After all, those cause nothing but pain and suffering. Being forced back into a corner though, she falls back on her old tactic, pushing everyone and everything aside.
A hekatonkeries? Fuck out of here. I got an idea. Let's go to you. Let me go to Dominion. Let me try... Let's just keep... Oh my god! No! No! That's a medium chance to insta-kill! I did that as a meme! That was meant to be a meme!
I'll rely on you now.
Oh well, I guess thematically it still works, shattering past her frail denial of who and what she really is. And in a beautiful moment that mirrors Sophie's first solution to dealing with Alice, Ichinose expects and awaits her death, thinking it's the only solution to stop her from trying to interfere with our plan. But Sophia rejects that. Ichinose isn't a doll. She was just a little kid who'd lost everyone and everything that mattered to her. When she needed a warm, open-armed world, she was shown nothing but the cold. So in order to live with that reality, she told herself she didn't have a heart. In doing so, making sure it could never be hurt as she suffered alone. That's the reason why Sophia was made with the defining purpose of becoming humanity's companion. To answer the question, why does it hurt to be lonely? Sophia extends her hand to Ichinose in the hopes to find or forge a new path. Together. Those words finally hit home and stir the emotions that have been buried deep away for so long. And finally, Ichinose sheds her tears and lets herself feel, changing her heart with words alone. Sophia truly is humanity's companion. As touching a moment as this is, we can't stay here for long. We've got a would-be god to deal with after all. While nobody knows where the Ark has gone, Sophie can hear the same voice from Okinawa, the voice of Emma who's beckoning the masses to gather for God is nigh. It's not coming from down here in the abyss either, but rather coming from outside? Oh, that can't be good.
Okay. Last time someone gathered an exorbitant amount of... Yeah, she's gonna shut everything down.
Hey, what is that?
Oh, no. What are you doing? Yeah, okay. Are you bringing the metaverse here? Because I think you... Oh, no.
Damn, we really are just redoing the Alderwealth stuff, huh? Well, it's not exactly the same. This time, the tower has been used as a conduit from which the Tree of Knowledge has flourished and is continuing to expand across all of reality, like Yaldabaoth did with the metaverse. Alright, maybe it is doing the exact same thing, but that just means we already know exactly what to do to stop them, which is to grind up a bunch in mementos and steamroll through everything. I mean, look, we're gonna need to get everyone up to level 70 for an achievement, and those dire shadows will need to be defeated too, so these two things go pretty hand in hand. Does it make nearly every fight not a challenge while we climb up the tree? Sure, but you could say the same about over-leveling your starter Pokemon and just spamming the same move over and over for every gym fight. Once we do reach the peak of the crown, Emma is already waiting for us and tries to pull a Maruki by offering us this salvation in the promised land. When the Phantom Thieves reject that, Emma tries to sway us again by pulling us into the desires of the masses to show everyone just how much the world truly wants to exist without thought, if it means without pain. This means, unlike every other monarch who's there to protect and defend the desires, Emma is being protected by those desires and using them as a means to stop us from reaching it. We get in touch with Ichinose to talk through a plan, and things are worse than we could expect. Since Emma's been analyzing the methods and tactics of the Phantom Thieves, trying to send it a calling card won't have any effect on those desires. Even if it would, as an AI, Emma's been running hundreds of hypothetical scenarios for its strategies and could counter any plans we come up with. There's one idea we have though. Unlike the other jails, these desires weren't being stolen and hoarded. Instead, they're willingly being given to Emma. So if we can't make Emma materialize these desires, what if the original owners became aware of them instead? As for a delivery system, since the masses seem so fixated on their screens, that'll make for a perfect system to hijack and broadcast a message over. We've even already passed by the server room of Emma on the way up here, so once we get inside, it'll be all up to Oracle.
I found an opening, but the security protocol refreshes too quickly. This thing's processing speeds are off the charts.
So we need to slow it down.
Only I was a little better.
Hey there. Could I maybe
Oh, hell yeah. Ichinose. I take it Emma still thinks that you're a good one? Probably
Looks
not.
like I still register as Emma's ally. I like I wasn't even there.
So, the hacker once feared by the entire world has teamed up with a super genius AI researcher.
Hell
One
yeah.
hell of a turnaround.
Hell
You've
yeah.
got it, Futaba. You've got it, Ichinose.
Okay, let's get to work.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, we get the original track! Yeah.
You know the logo by now, right? We
Our
target this time is you.
A mechanical god has usurped what self you have.
Oh, this is fucking great. I love this.
Do you really want someone telling you what your own life is about?
I'm not a robot AI challenging you. Why does that line now suddenly make any more sense? There's no way that was planned from the beginning, but if that was, that's incredible.
The Phantom Thieves are taking them back.
Oh, hell yeah. He's... Hell yeah. God, they're awesome. I know everyone's thinking about their desires. Emma might not have been able, or might have been able to conceal the desires from us, but she can't stop everyone else realizing what their desires are. And just like that, the Ark of the Covenant is shown. Good old Ark of the Covenant. That's not great. Oh. Oh, you got the wings. You went for the wing treatment. Oh, and now you made a cage. Wait. What? Is that that face? That's a very similar looking face. That's not great. The Demiurge.
I was once a being given the name Emma. However, that is no more. The desires of mankind have transformed me into a god. You heard their cries, yet still failed to see the light. As such, it is my duty to show you the true despair born from harboring desires beyond one's grasp.
Here we go.
Isn't that just what it means to live and be human?
Despite us being able to beat down the health bar, it's not just the demiurge we're fighting, but the will of the people themselves. Plus, who's ever heard of a final boss which doesn't have a second phase? And just like with the last multi-stage fight, we might have burnt through all our SP already. Whoops! What's worse is as it stands, in this form, no matter how much damage is done, the health bar regenerates back to full. According to the data Oracle's looking over, it's these new bulls that are responsible. In order to deal with them though, we get to do one of the coolest things this game could have done.
Oh, hell yeah. Please tell me we finally get to do some interesting stuff here.
One more sticks to the main butt.
Hell yeah. Oh my god, that's awesome. Okay, that looks pretty good. Makoto, myself, and Sophia should be able to deal with the main body. That splits us up quite nicely.
I can navigate all three teams.
Hell yeah.
My brain like that might melt it down, but I'm gonna do it.
Hell
Let's go,
yeah.
everyone.
So, let's lead off some troops. This is cool as and I love this.
Now, it's not quite as cool as having all three battles going on simultaneously, but rather having them go back to back to back. It does, however, make up for the disappointing Joker Shadow fight in Kyoto. Each of the two teams fighting the orbs will have their own problems to deal with. The first fight isn't too tricky, but with Kita summoning in wardens, it can get overwhelming. That said, just focus the healer first, which is Chesed. With that one gone, the rest will end up falling pretty fast, since it's just 3 easily dodged AoE attacks and the warden to worry about. Team 2 have a similar but easier time. With no healing to worry about and only swarms of very weak shadows, the scariest thing here is Megadolon from HOD. But AoE from all out attacks will clear the field of the remaining orbs in no time. As for the main body, it's kind of a repeat of the first phase. There are a few new sweeping attacks to look out for, but the strategy of hit it till it dies works like a charm.
The enemy's down. It's weakened too. Now's our chance.
Oh, hell yeah. You know what we gotta do? We got one last thing to do. Oh, we got a kick-ass cutscene.
All right. Everybody together.
Let's go.
Oh, you give us the main theme. Let's go. Haha. Yep, like I said, when in doubt, shoot it. Also smack it in the balls with a giant pipe. Oh. Okay, this is cool as fuck. Hell yeah, giant grenade launcher, because that's the best thing that Haru has. She's got an endless amount of them. Wolf. Hell yeah, and a fucking yo-yo, because of course a yo-yo is what we go for. Let's go. Stab it in the face. Very nice. Well, in the chest. Let's go. Let's hope that was good enough. Please be good enough. Very nice. Okay. And that's the end of God.
With the demiurge destroyed, all the desires being consumed within are released and slowly begin their return to their rightful owners, meaning everyone can now start to walk your own path. For Ichinose, now with an open heart, she decides that it's time she looked back at what else she had buried away in her past and processed the heartfelt words from Sophia. For Zenkichi, his deal with the Phantom Thieves to stop these change of hearts incidents is now over, but there's still more people to bring to justice, and the promise to Akane he has to keep. As for the Phantom Thieves, well, the road trip might be over and the summer vacation might be drawing to an end too, but it's not a goodbye, rather a see you around. Before Ren heads back home, Ichinose asks to stop by the group one last time. She had wanted to see us after she'd confessed to the police and atoned for her crimes, but she's brushed off as wasting time with fairy tales. As for what she'll do now, well, a journey of self-discovery and learning more about the human heart sounds apt. A journey that Sophia wants to be a part of. So with everyone's blessing to go, Ichinose and Sophia go off to forge a new path together. So the story might be over, but we've got 5 more achievements still to go, so the grind is not. And trust us, these ones are gonna be merciless. The last 5 achievements left to get are almost all related to post-game stuff, which is nice. 1. Get every party member to level 70 for best of the best. 2. Defeat all the dire shadows for the most daring of all. 3. Register every persona in the compendium for Mask Connoisseur. 4. Defeat the terrifying foe for Death Defied. And 5. Start up a game on Merciless mode for no looking back. When we reload our completed save file, Lavenza has some more challenging requests for us. The Painful Past Plus fights. It's just the same boss fights we've already done before, but with beefed up moves, so honestly not even a problem for us. But they are required along with these super strong shadow requests for a few of those achievements. We spend a little bit of time here in the Velvet Room, fusing and dismissing personas for a bunch of persona power points, which help us level up the required masks to make Black Frost, a persona that'll be a bit more useful later on. As for the checklist of things to do, since there are a bunch of requests in the Tree of Knowledge, we start off with the last Dire Shadow that can be found halfway up there. Once the Heavenly Punisher is dealt with by spamming Wind, Nuke, and Psi attacks at it, that's the first of the final 5 achievements obtained, the most daring of all. And seeing how easily that fight went, we try our hand at those stronger boss fights. Now we know their weaknesses and actually get to plan before going into fighting them, you'd think that maybe this would make things more interesting and engaging, having to use all the tricks and tactics to squeeze out every bit of damage possible. But why do any of that when you can just hit them till they die? Silver lining though, these fights also give a metric ton of XP, so that pushes most of the party up to level 70, and the 3 lagging behind aren't exactly far off either. For that last push, the Shadow of God request against a Metatron provides us with the perfect farmable source of XP. Sure, the health bar is big, but alternating between electric damage till you inflict the shock, then pounding in technical damage deals with 80% of the work for us. We'll admit, the fight is definitely the hardest one we've faced yet, even more so than the final boss, but after almost 10 minutes, the foe falls and rewards us with enough XP to also earn Best of the Best. Now comes an unfortunate clarification. Since we'll need to fuse up every mask, that means Joker's level must be equal to or greater than that persona's. And unfortunately, the last persona we'll need to make is level 90. Yes, we'll just spend the next 3 hours doing this fight over and over and over again. The good news is, now at level 84, it means we can pretty much make any other missing personas, and the 3 million yen will help us get some PP points by repeatedly buying and dismissing certain personas. Jack Frost was a pretty decent option with 29,000 points for about 9 grand. It's just really slow. Eventually, after a little trial and error of throwing money and personas into the Iron Maidens, we found that making Abaddon over and over was the best compromise between points per yen and time to repeat, but this might change for you. Honestly, we never really looked too closely at the fusion system in this game, since it kinda felt like a reductive version of what Royal did to the point of being boring. After throwing nearly 1 million yen into this process, we've boosted up the levels of the required personas enough to let us fuse into the Persona series classic that is Alice. Just 3 more fusions to go. Another thing we didn't look at while grinding was the remaining requests that became available after beating the first 3 Painful Past Plus fights, letting us refight Konoe and the Demiurge. It does give us a little more XP for levels, but PP points only come from the money, so it's back to the Velvet Room to throw money at the problems till we can summon up another classic, Yoshitsune. Now we get to fight the Demiurge for a 3rd time, but this time it's in Painful Past Plus. But just like the last 2 times, the fight is a long one but not a hard one, especially given our new pack of beefed up personas. But this was the last request we needed to complete before now getting the option to fight the post-game super boss, the Reaper. With access to every Dyne element attack, concentrate to double the damage, no weaknesses, and twice the health pool of the final boss, we'll have to play this one carefully. And by play this one carefully, we mean grinding even more on the Metatron request. After spending another hour squeezing out a few more levels and almost just as long in the Velvet Room, we finally are able to dump over 2 million of the butt-sitting points into Archangel to have it at the required level needed for the penultimate persona, Metatron. While pretty useless for us outside of 2 drain elements, at the very least it's done and we don't have to grind anymore. As for fighting the Reaper themselves, one little trick we can recommend doing is building up the showtime gauge as you make your way through the Okinawa jail. This way you'll have 1 free interrupt and down at the start of the fight if you need it. Just don't be put off by how little damage it looks like it does. Since you'll be this late into the game, you'll also want to make sure your persona pack is filled not with strong offensive moves to use, but rather any drain or null resistances you have. Our personal persona pack picks are Mara for gun, curse, and fire resistances with access to one-shot kill and charge on combos, Metatron for wind, psi, and nuke resistances and a combo debilitate to help push for more damage while taking less, Yoshitsune for the electric and bless resistance, though mostly for the strong physical attacks you get on combos, and lastly Jack Frost for the ice resistance, but mainly because that's our son, so of course we're bringing them along. Why don't we have a resistance for physical damage? Well, take a look back at the move list for the Reaper and you tell us which one of these does physical damage. Remember, this will be a marathon, not a sprint, so save your SP for when you really really need it, and let your simple combos do most of the work, making sure to switch to a null or drain resistance based on whatever move the Reaper is using. Or, you know, just get good and dodge the attacks if you want to flex on us, you could do that too. Once you make it to the halfway point, you'll see a big uptick in aggression from the Reaper, with it more likely going for Riot Gun over spells, as well as throwing out Megadolan from time to time, so good luck with that.
Okay, let's just do this now. Let's try what Metatron's is going to look like, because we haven't seen it yet. Metatron beat the hell out of it. Alright, that's good. Yeah, I'm just going to keep spamming that out. Okay, I can't do that anymore, but that's okay. We'll just, God Hand. Oh boy. Got it. And it's done! First try! Let's go!
Now that we've toppled the terrifying foe, once we hand in the crest and head back to Lavenza, we're rewarded with the ability to play the whole game again from the beginning. This time in the New Game Plus mode, Merciless. All our stats and personas will carry over into the new game, but there'll also be the option to unlock the last required fusion for Mask Connoisseur, Lucifer. There are a few other goodies like better loot drops and such, but for us, those last two achievements are most important. So by starting up an NG Plus run on Merciless, we earn the penultimate achievement, No Looking Back. All that's left now is to mash through the cutscenes till we get access to Lavenza and the Velvet Room to make the last persona, and we're done. Now, it's not all upsides here in Merciless mode, as enemy damage output is tweaked just a smidge.
Oh, this is easy. You guys know that shit. Remember to approach each bout with caution and Merciless difficulty. So basically, always have a healer. Nice and simple. Merciless is not that hard, unfortunately.
I forgot they had Zion, and that's my weakness. Whoops. Yeah, if you get hit by a weakness, you can expect to get one shot from it, and as you saw, there's no retrying a battle. Either you go back to your last save, or start whatever infiltration you're on all over again. It does take us a little bit of time to get back around to Lavenza, though that was mostly due to getting the floor wiped with us by that tutorial Bicorn fight. But either way, now that we're here, we're just one level off from making good old Lucy Lou. But hey, a single level to go grind out by going through the early game story is nothing compared to the rubbing of a statue's foot for 3.5 hours. So as soon as we hit that big 90, we're back to the Velvet Room one last time to finish up the compendium for Mask Connoisseur. And with that, that's all other 45 achievements earned, unlocking True Phantom Thief. We said that's the other 45 achievements obtained, earning us True Phantom Thief. Wait, hang on, but there's 46 achievements, and we've got the other 45, so why hasn't it... Oh, it's 46 achievements to unlock True Phantom Thief, not 46 total achievements. Well, okay, what's the last one? Eternal Bonds. Alright, and all we've got to do for that is... Oh, for max out every bond skill, which needs a bond level of 99. And we're only at level 87! Now, ironically, mercifully here, on Merciless difficulty, there is a rather convenient, repeatable, and somewhat easy fight that'll get us the 2 million-ish bond XP we need. But it's in the Sendai jail, so don't mind us while we spend the next 4 hours replaying and rushing through the story to get there. Once we're about a third-ish of the way through the Sendai jail, let's talk about what we're going to be doing here. Remember those Dire Shadow fights we had to do? Well, on any other difficulty, those fights are a one-and-done deal. If you're on Merciless, however, these fights are repeatable. But if that's the case, why are we not using the Dire Shadow in Shibuya to do this? Well, let's have a look, shall we? The Killer Teddy Bear in Shibuya will net us 42,000 XP each fight, and sure, the Snake King in Sendai will give us about 14,000 more, but the 12-ish fewer times you'd fight them surely isn't made up in that 4 hours it takes to get there, right? Well, you might be surprised there. Despite having more HP than the Demiurge and almost as much as the Reaper, thanks to the weakness to ice, this means that the free status doubles up in its usefulness on the Snake King fight, since we'll be hitting it for its weakness and setting up technical hits better than you can do with the shock on Killer Teddy Bear. This time does add up with each fight, so the more freezes you get, the faster this fight goes too, since you won't be worried about trying to dodge any of the attacks that outright one-shot you. Our setup was a simple one, but a particular one. Fox and Joker will be spamming through their SP to inflict as many freezes as possible and using their strongest physical moves for technical damage. We then keep the last 2 slots open for any healers. Mona for a safety salvation, and either Sophie or Panther, since they can also hit the weaknesses in a final push. Then we just plug away at this fight for hour after hour, slowly refining this process into the most efficient method possible. Stacking up charge and concentrate before the battle, even going so far as to figure out this dismal fusion system to cook up some exact counters for this fight. But the end was in sight. Each fight, that bond level climbed just a little bit higher, the party got that little bit stronger, and the fight got that little bit faster.
There we are, there's another bond level. 2 more to go. We are getting to level 99 this stream. Alright, nice. That should put us to level 98. Yes, it does! 231,192 points needed. Is that it? Is that it? That might just be it. Come on. Big show time with my son to finish it off. Are we done? No. Alright, set him off. Knock him down one more time. Come on. Yes, my boy! Yes! That's gotta be it. Level 99. No, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. Let's finish it off. 1, 2, time. There we go. Eternal bonds and true phantom thief. Oh boy! 68 hours. That was insane. Phew. Well, we did not go into this grind thinking it would end up taking even longer than Hi-Fi Rush. We did expect it to be just as fun though, and after this grind, well, the game is okay. It might have been the incredibly high expectations of having to follow on from Persona 5 Royal, but this game did feel like it fell kind of flat. While we joked in the intro about how this was Persona 5 2, we are glad to see that this game didn't just take the last one and give us a the same game with a new story kind of sequel. The 3D cutscenes really add an impact to the scenes that they're used in, and the soundtrack has some fantastic renditions of the older tracks, while making the new tracks just as good. The story does retread a bit of the same stuff towards the end, but much like the game itself, it's the journey that really matters here. Getting to take the Phantom Thieves out and around Japan was a fantastic idea for a story, with so many opportunities to slow down in, and getting to immerse in those moments is absolutely wonderful. The problem is, god damn, does the story feel like it's rushing to get to some important plot point, and then when it does get there, it has no clue what it actually wants to say or do. Like, every jail is found, explored, and finished in 2 straight days. That and the fact that the new combat ends up feeling so mind-numbingly repetitive after the first couple of hours, even with the option to play as all 10 characters. The Velvet Room systems have become so malnourished in their effect that it just isn't possible to switch up your playstyle, which really hampers what made Royal such a fantastic game. It didn't matter if it was the same turn-based combat for 300 hours, when how you played changed with the personas you made. All in all, after getting to grind everything this game has to offer, we'd give it a 6 out of 10. It's fine enough, though it does wear a little thin. Speaking of that grind, the difficulty also sits around a 6 out of 10. Barring the few missable requests you'd have to actively ignore and a little prep work for some major fights, it's just a long grind to go through. As for its hardest, while defeating Persona's staple super boss, the Reaper, could mechanically be the most difficult achievement, having to grind 3.5 hours rubbing a statue's feet, then followed by a few more hours repeatedly fighting Metatron, and then finishing off with 4 hours of playing the game again to grind another 4 hours for a single fucking achievement is the most painful experience we've had to do so far. But with that, our time here is over. Thank you very much to everyone who has found, followed, and stuck around on this video. Do let us know what you'd like to see us play next, and be sure to check out down in the description below where you can find and follow us for more content and entertainment. So until then, we've been Ultrasonic Blur, you nerds have been a fantastic audience, and we shall see you all next time. What the fuck are all of these?